Hello,
Yeah.
everyone.
Oh,
Yo.
Sheesh.
Yo. Yo, that shit.
A little
Fantastic.
pogger.
Don't you love Jeff's podcast, everyone?
no. Don't you love
All
it?
right.
It's fantastic.
Who wants to introduce himself first?
All right, so Atlas.
Okay,
is
actually,
hosting
I knew Runaway was gonna do this. There's only one reason why we're late. Mike, would you like to explain your nap?
I
No,
2 minutes before.
You were here when?
Fantastic.
2 minutes beforehand?
Yep, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Not me, just now plugging the stream over in my Discord. Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone go.
Everyone
Everyone in
so
my Discord better be here.
I'm gonna throw this out initially. We're gonna act like parts of this are being recorded for YouTube because they will be. So if things get weird, as in us introducing ourselves, and you guys already know who we are on stream, don't judge us. Just judge them who haven't followed us already. That's
Yup.
right.
Facts. That doesn't
Calling you out, boys.
Oh, and if you aren't already, we have a command for this now.
Yo.
Go sub to the AMA channel.
Hey.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo.
That's where all this will end up eventually. And there will be.
Hey, yo.
Emotional damage.
And yeah.
That was good.
Oh, wait, Atlas. We didn't even think about this.
What?
We didn't think about the sound alert.
Oh no.
It's fine.
I 100% thought about it. I meant to bring it up to you guys. How? It's just gonna be in the middle of our preview, and I'm gonna say some shit about how bad Notre Dame's offense has been this year.
Can I get a Hoya?
And then someone's gonna get a Hoya in the middle of it, or I'm just gonna be shit talking James Franklin, and someone's gonna be like, emotional damage. Whoa.
Fantastic. I love it.
Jesus. All right.
So
I vote Alex to go
I
first.
think when we're doing the bits for YouTube, I will probably just turn off sound alerts if I can.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds.
But
I agree
in
with that.
between, y'all can spam as much as you fucking want. Okay? I know what I'm doing. Actually, 1 second. Can I just make it not visible, and then will it? Or do I have to physically go turn them off?
Oh no, I can spam. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I may have opened a
No.
door. I may have opened.
No
Okay.
no one ever tell Budgie that they can spam because they will.
Apparently I have a sub today. I don't know how that works.
Let's
Oh, yeah.
go.
It's on my
Well,
sound
no.
alerts page. I don't know how that knows it, but
Let's like Jimmy Garoppolo, bro.
yeah.
Hello.
Jimmy Garoppolo, top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
Andy Dalton, top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
Andy Dalton,
Legend.
top 15, maybe like 6 years ago.
Burrow's bottom 25, bro. Unfortunately.
Yeah. How do I turn off sounds?
Does that look better? I think this looks better. Atlas, Mike is popping off in chat and on stream. What a legend.
Yep. Always.
Why did you say
Always.
Atlas? What the fuck?
Homeboy didn't do anything.
Okay, can someone try to play a sound right now for research purposes?
All right.
Actually, you know what? I can do it.
Yeah, I was
I was about to say,
don't-
wait, I'm not giving you my what are they called? My
Oh,
Atlas
my
Atlas
sound. One of my
maps,
sound
my
alerts
Atlas
is on
passports.
countdown.
Oh,
Oh, did it
too
work?
late.
Did it work?
Garoppolo.
I think it worked. It didn't go through. Okay, I did what I needed to do.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We're good.
We can do introductions now. Holy shit, Pog.
All right.
Beautiful.
Atlas has to go first. Don't
I have
care.
to go first.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Atlas host.
Yeah.
Well, let's go in order of the thing. So
Yeah.
Atlas, Mike, and then myself. There we go.
Howdy, people out in the ether. My name's Atlas. I'm
This is so
God
tough.
damn it.
This is the start to this podcast. Okay. This is
Okay,
fantastic.
okay, I got that. I got it. Hey y'all, I'm Atlas. I'm a 22-year-old Oregon fan. What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Like, what do you want me to say that's not gonna make Mike die and AGB just cringe in the corner?
We both died.
All right, so I don't know, just kind of say what your teams are, what your favorite
Oh,
sport
That
is,
okay, that's pretty
stuff
good.
like that, sports things.
Okay, yeah.
Your chat cringing.
Hello, YouTube. My name's Atlas. I'm 22 years old. I'm from the lovely state of Oregon. My favorite sport is
enough.
football, the real kind, not the American kind.
Right.
And my favorite teams are for football, for the Portland Timbers, Trailblazers for the NBA,
Who?
the Devil Rays for the MLB, the Titans for the NFL.
You did not just say the Devil Rays.
What is your problem with me calling them the Devil Rays, bro? Let me live in 2006, okay? But I support a lot of teams. I'm not a generally hateful person unless your name is Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah, we call him Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook around here, boy.
Westbrook.
Out here in Lakerville, we just don't care about him anymore.
Yeah.
Dennis Schroeder clears, honestly.
Is
Anyways,
he
Dennis
actually
Pat
gonna get
Bev.
traded? Like, I feel like Westbrook trading, like,
They don't need him.
honestly,
They don't need him right now.
we
give him to
don't.
someone for a fifth. I don't care. I'm sure the Rockets will take him in that franchise. Like, like,
For a fifth, like there's 5 rounds in the
bro, are you
NBA
kidding me?
draft.
To get rid of that contract, bro?
It wouldn't be the first time they have an awful contract.
Yeah,
Off
John
John
Wall.
Wall.
Is no one else gonna acknowledge the fact that Atlas just said give it up for a fifth, like there's 5 rounds in the NBA draft?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm
yes,
acknowledging
good
that.
for
Yeah,
him.
he's getting a person from the G League draft. That's what I'm
Let's
saying, you know.
go.
The G League draft.
Bro, give me
Dog.
Taco Fall for this man.
You don't know. It's not even for a draft pick. It's for a fantasy basketball draft pick, bro.
Let's go.
Yeah, a nice Jeremy Grant pick you got there. Anyways,
There we go. All right. So, Mike, tell the people who you are.
Okay, so I'm Mike. I'm a Southern California resident. My favorite sport currently is baseball. It has since like 2015. My favorite sports franchises are the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Kings, the Los Angeles Lakers, and then for college, I'm a USC.
oh,
Fair. Fair.
I should have said that too. NHL, SCO Lightning, and then I
Fucking bandwagon.
my family is from the Tampa Bay area. What do you want me to do? And then
who
do you fan
I
of?
go to University of
Why are you a
Oregon,
Bucks
so can I get a SCO Ducks?
No.
I got the Ducks
It-
merch. Oh, yeah, got the Ducks merch somewhere.
Got him
You
done.
see, Atlas didn't wear the merchandise. That's
All
an
right,
H.
Atlas, you know what? On podcast number 1, I already give you a requirement, and he just walked away. I can't do this. There's no. I can't give him assignments if he's not here to. Okay. well,
Good thing. This
I
is
guess
the-
in
this
this time I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I am from the state that does exist, Ohio.
It doesn't.
It exists. I'm closest to Cincy out of all the major cities, so I like to try and consider myself. Okay, now he has his Oregon stuff on. Also, while we're talking about states that are false, he's living in Oregano. It's not Oregon. That's what we call it around here. So, Oregon's not a real place. We call it Oregano. All right, there we go. Everyone say it in the chat. But I reside with Cincy, so I'm unfortunately a Reds fan. They are still on the radio though.
Hey, Joey Votto be popping though.
Is he?
He's
does he-
injured. He's on 60 day.
I don't care. He has my birthday. He a homie.
Yeah, Joey Votto's a homie. That's the only thing that franchise has had for the past like decade. I'm a Bengals fan through and through. I have been for a while, but I've been voicing it more as of late because that last ride last year was nuts. And that's as of right now, my favorite sport is football. I've always been a basketball fan up to this point, but I just had so much fun watching this team last week. It really made me fall more in love with the sport of football than I've ever been. I even played football when I was little. It was like my life. And I still wish that I could play basketball, but I've always been more fascinated with basketball up to this point, but football has just taken me head over heels at this point. So I am a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan. That is my squad. Mike likes to slander them because he's a bandwagon and just follows Tom Brady wherever he goes. But
Am I gonna follow him into a retirement home?
Yes.
Is that the next step?
Yeah.
yeah,
The
might as well.
The next chapter.
Yeah.
Next chapter. you could say.
At least he'll have you because it doesn't sound like he'll be having his wife after this season. If y'all have read the report, so.
I mean, he's not wrong.
It
So
doesn't sound like it, bro. It really doesn't. But for football, I know that I just said I resigned with a lot of Cincy, but you know, if you're living in Ohio and you're watching any college team, it's not the University of Cincinnati. You are watching the Ohio State Buckeyes, so that is my college team. And my NBA team, I don't have one right now. Yes, actually, wait, no, I'm gonna announce it right here. I am now a
Great.
Cleveland Cavaliers fan because I like Donovan Mitchell. That's the Ohio team. Donovan Mitchell is now in Ohio, which means I am now a Cleveland Cavaliers fan.
I was waiting for him to say I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
They went down to South Beach and become a Miami Heat fan. They're not doing anything this year. They made no moves.
Bruh,
in the
you say
offseason.
that like they don't
Yeah,
have like
that-
one of the best six men in the league, not to mention Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. He can't carry as much as he has in the past.
Let's
yeah,
leave
that's
this
my
discussion till later on.
We've been
Okay.
Yeah,
talking
some
about the
direct-
NBA today, bro.
Yeah, this is more football than anything.
Yeah, we are mid football season, and you know I don't know anything about the MLB
Mid-football
up to
season.
this point.
Mhm.
Too.
Well, we're kicking it off. We're kicking it off. We've had basically a week and a half of NFL because we had the one game yesterday, and then we have a game a day full of games this Sunday, which is going to be all kinds of fun. Week one was insane. We're going to talk about that some.
Very small.
The college football scene has been pretty nuts the past couple of weeks, and we're going to discuss
Yeah.
that as well. So, Atlas, will pass it back to you. Where do you want to go for college football this week?
Oh, we're doing college football first? Okay.
Yep.
So I got four games. Four games we should talk about. I was considering putting on more, but I think there's, for the sake of time and for the sake of people that aren't as big as college football fans as they are NFL fans, we're gonna go, you know, with the main highlights.
Okay.
Now, you might expect that as an Oregon fan, I would go with the BYU game first, as I think that's probably the biggest game this weekend, debatably. But I'm actually going to go to Auburn, Alabama first.
Auburn, Alabama.
The
Those are always
Nittany
great
Lions
games.
are going down to Jordan Hare Stadium. They're 2.5-point favorites to go there and get the dub against what's frankly a very underwhelming Auburn team, who hasn't really had an offense. Their passing game, they've had two gimme games, and they haven't had a passing game in either of them. Yeah, I don't. Do you guys have notes on this too?
I don't think I took notes on Auburn's game. But I have watched Auburn's last few weeks, and I think they can beat Penn State, but it's going to be a pretty close one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come down to both rushing attacks and whether or not they can establish themselves. Because the passing game's going to be Penn State every day.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of whether or not Penn State can, you know, win using only that passing attack, which I don't think is the case. So yeah, it's
rarely
going to
that
be running
happens in
game
college
against running
football.
game. Now, in the two games Penn State have had so far this season, they had a very close game on the road against Purdue, and then a, you know, very complete game against Ohio. You know, the Bobcats of Ohio. Really good.
Yeah.
The best team in the MAC. I don't even know if that's true. I think, is Cincy in the MAC? I think Cincy's in the MAC. Yeah.
Yeah, they take that.
But the interesting thing, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but James Franklin, coach of Penn State, what would you guess
What?
his away record is? Obviously, Penn State's constantly a top 25 team.
It's going to be under 500, isn't it?
It's not under 500, but it's at very
Yeah, that'd be
close.
wild.
It's one game over 500. It's 19 and
Wow.
18.
Damn.
Um,
That is
and
wild.
Jordan Hare Stadium's definitely one of the tougher stadiums to go, and
Yeah.
you've had plenty better teams go into Jordan Hare and lose against worse Auburn teams, if we're being honest.
Yes.
Right.
So it's definitely going to be a closer game. I just I can't see an Auburn team that put up 24 against San Jose State, put up more than like 20 against Penn State. I'm not sure if that's like no disrespect to the Golden Warriors. I'm not sure what they're called over there at San Jose State. But
Ow.
Auburn, it's really Tank Bigsby is going to be their offense this Saturday, and I've got Penn State winning this one. It's going to be close. I got it 21-17. That's my score line. But I could see it go either way. And if, next week we're talking about, Auburn had a great game against Penn State, I wouldn't be surprised if, if they come out on top, if the Tigers go grr.
I think that's a very
Good
similar
thought,
matchup
huh?
to the Stanford USC matchup last week, because they could go either way with that USC defense, and Stanford's prolific at home against
Mm-hmm.
teams coming in. It's hard to beat Stanford at home, and that's what Auburn is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So similarly, just looking at the stats here, I had these pulled up as soon as you mentioned it because I looked at these two teams. I didn't look deeply into these two teams, but it looks like, honestly, I want to give Auburn more hope because honestly, I've liked watching Auburn in previous years because they always just find a way to win. Like there's a game that they had in Alabama years back where they had that kickoff return. That was nuts. That's one of my favorite football plays ever.
Yeah.
Because it's just there's so much hype behind it. I mean, they're the underdogs. They're about ready to beat one of the best teams in the country. I think that year they were the best team in the country, and they just popped off and did that. That was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like to me that I didn't even have to scroll down, man. So you look at these two quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
You look at these two quarterbacks. So T.J. Finley compared to Sean Clifford is a scrub.
Okay, I want to point this out. T.J. Finley, it's 1 touchdown, 3 picks, right? They've played
Right.
against Mercer and San Jose State, and that's his stat line. Their most prolific receiver has 7 receptions in the first 2 games for 150 yards. So that's what I'm saying. Passing game, complete wash.
That's got to clean up if they want to try and do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give this to my Big Ten homies over here at Penn State because Sean Clifford has had a couple of massive first 2 games, almost passing for almost 500 yards and all you giving off 1 pick and 5 touchdowns. T.J. Finley is almost at 300 yards with 1 touchdown and 3 picks. In football, it's very hard to win games if you are losing the turnover battle, even if it's just by 1.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that this past Sunday with the Bengals and the Steelers. I think that game should have been 10 times closer, but the turnover battle was 5 Cincinnati to 0 Pittsburgh. The fact that game was even close, to me, is insane. But
not to mention that
crazy things happen
the Chargers-Chiefs game changed because of the Herbert pick six.
Because of that pick 6 was the difference in that game.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers were strong all throughout that game. They looked amazing. Justin Herbert looked like the MVP. He looked better than Mahomes. And it's not very often that Patrick Mahomes, you can look at another guy on the other sideline that looks better than Patrick Mahomes, and he did that the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Up until that pick 6, because that completely just took all the momentum that team had built up out from underneath them. Arrowhead went crazy for the Chiefs, and that was the difference maker, was them being at home and then getting that play right there. If that play did not happen, the Chargers won that one on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my point. You have to win that turnover battle. Even if they throw, I feel like just 1 interception. 1 makes it harder. 2 makes it impossible to win. So I'm going to have to go with Penn State in this game for sure, just because of the quarterback battle.
I'll go with the underdog pick here. I'm going to go Auburn 20-17.
Okay.
20-17. Okay.
Yeah, respect
Low
it.
scoring affair. I feel like it's gonna be a defensive game.
I can see
Okay.
that. I can see that. I feel like they're both heavily going to anticipate for the run game because they both have good run games. And I
Yeah.
feel like if
Mhm.
I am Auburn, I have to be looking at the passing game
Mhm.
as well because that's just as important, if not more important.
Yeah, I feel like these two teams are gonna be keeping on the ground a lot this week instead of passing it because I feel like that's what the teams are kind of predicting the other team.
Mhm.
Maybe like the first half it's be rushing, then a gun out in the second half. All right, next game.
Next game. Next game.
Let's go to College Station, Texas, home of the team that took a fat L against App State last weekend.
Oh
Texas
God.
A&M and Mario Cristobal's Miami Hurricanes are traveling there. Um, I I don't know what to think about this game. On the one hand, I don't really like Mario Cristobal. Um, you might understand that as an Oregon fan, and I have some thoughts about his ability to, his ability to just coach in these big games as well as go on the road. I mean, thinking about his time at Oregon, the Ohio State's not like the rule; it's the outlier. I mean, we went to Utah, got smacked. Pac-12 championship game, got smacked. I mean, I, you got that on the one hand, and it's like a new offense. It hasn't really been clicked. They've been sluggish starting off games. I mean, their game last week, I forget who it was against. It was 3-7 until the very end of the second quarter when they punched in a touchdown to make it 10-7. Um, you got that and some maybe inconsistency, but you have like a really good quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke. And then you got a Texas A&M team who just I don't even know what to call what happened against App State. I mean, congrats to App State. You put 82 plays on Texas A&M compared to their 38. The time of possession was like 40-20, if not more advantageous to App State. And Texas A&M's offense, there might be a QB change. I've heard that multiple quarterbacks are running with the one string practice this week, and I'm sure Jimbo Fisher is going to keep that close to his chest, whether or not he's going to start. I think it's Max Johnson,
It's Max
or
Johnson, I believe.
yeah, the LSU transfer. So I don't really know what we're going to get with the Texas A&M offense, but what I do know is that we're going to have a wounded animal in the Aggies, and their season is pretty much going to hinge on this Miami game. I don't think
Yeah.
it's a must-win if we're talking about Jimbo Fisher's job. I think it's no, a lot more questions are going to be asked next week if the Hurricanes win, but if we're talking about making it to the SEC championship, I know it's not a conference game, but like college football playoff hopes, two losses, and then you still have to play teams like Bama and LSU and
Yep.
like go to Mississippi State. Those aren't fun games.
Tough
That's what I
matchups.
was about to bring up. That's exactly what I was about to bring up. You can't. You said that this isn't not a must-win game. I kind of disagree in that sense. I know, and I don't see them pulling it out. I know that Miami up to this point has played two, not nobodies, but not so great teams. Um, but they dropped 70 last week. That's nuts. That
Jesus.
is nuts. So that offense is going to come in and they're gonna want to hit you. They're going to want to go just right down your throat. They're going to want to go all day. They're not going to want to stop. But this, I mean, like Atlas said, you have the top 10 team in the, Arkansas. They kind of get a little bit of a break with Mississippi State, but they're still a good team. You have Alabama, then you have South Carolina, then you have Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all solid teams. I don't think that they're going to be able to make it too far if they start off at like such a slow, not a slow pace, but if they start off on a rough patch, it's going to take a lot for them to get off of that. Because I mean, I think if they lose this week, theoretically by the numbers, so Miami is 13. If they lose to the 13th team, they're going to lose to the 10th team, and they're obviously going to lose to Alabama, I think. And then other teams like South Carolina and Ole Miss can just kind of come out and they can outperform this team too if they're still in that rough patch, if they've not gotten that momentum going, if they're just not confident. Confidence. We think about these things all the time, like confidence and chemistry, and we kind of overlook things, but that stuff is important when it comes to sports, especially football. I think obviously I'm going to go back to the Cincinnati Bengals again because that's the main game that I watched last week. That offensive line did not play a single preseason snap with Joe Burrow, and it showed. That's an elite offense in Pittsburgh, but they showed that they had no idea how to work together because they gave up all those sacks. They let Joe get pressured again, and we know that this line is significantly better than what they were last year, but they didn't show that. So chemistry and being gelled with your guys and being confident is more important than that I think people look at most of the time. So if they start off 1-2, and then they go and play Arkansas, and they're kind of beaten up because they just lost to Miami.
Yeah.
And they go over in Arkansas and lose, and now they're 1-3. Mississippi State, they could pull that one up, but then they're just 2-3. And then you go to Alabama, and you kind of know you're not going to win that one, so you're 2-4. I think this game they have to try and get off on the right foot here, and I think that they can do that tomorrow. If they don't, I think that Texas A&M is in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's the same situation for Miami because I feel like this is a test game for them for later on in the college football season. Because in the later 2 weeks you have to play Clemson, which of course it's Clemson. You're gonna have a tough matchup there, and then the week after you're playing Pittsburgh, another top 25 school.
Yeah.
Which we've seen over the years that Miami hasn't done too well against these, but this is the first time they are facing a ranked opponent this year, I believe. And this is going to show for them if they can step up against the top 25 teams. If they can, then hopefully they can grab a win from Clemson, maybe. But that's a tough one.
I'd like to say thank you, Raven, for the sub real quick. And
Heyo.
Runaway doing the SpongeBob memes in chat. Also, no idea why people are tasing each other at your work, Raven. That seems like a very weird thing to be happening.
That's very odd.
Yeah, I think so. My prediction, I think, so the line right now is A&M favored by 6, even with the App State thing happening last week. And I think in combination with what AGB said, like a combination of like a wounded animal and understanding that your season pretty much lies on this game, I'm going to pick A&M to win 28-24. I think the game is going to be a lot closer than that. This could be something like where it's A&M touchdown with a minute left to make it 28-24, and Van Dyke's not going to have enough time to go down the field.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I can see this too. I think that, I think that part of the reason that that spread is what it is because Miami has played nobodies. They've not really played any solid schools yet.
Yeah.
But I do think that this team is obviously good, or else they wouldn't be in the top 25 period, but
ranked
they also wouldn't be
13.
dropping 70 on people.
I mean, to be fair,
regardless
Oregon was
of who
ranked
they are.
13 before what happened against Georgia, but we won't talk about that. No. Yeah.
I was going to bring something up about that at some point, but I think this has to go to the U because they also know the significance of what's going on for Texas A&M. They know how bad that they're going to want to win this game. And if Texas A&M gets to a point where they get to be too desperate and they start taking risks to try and win this game, sometimes that might be it right there. They might win based off of that if the risks go in their way. But I think that they're gonna have to take some risks. They're gonna have to do some things to get out of their comfort zone because the U is coming at them, and I don't think that. I think that I just don't know because like how I said with momentum and having Joe with these guys, you just lost to Appalachia State.
Yeah,
and
not a good look.
These guys across the field from you just blew somebody out by 70 last week.
It wasn't 70 last week. It was 70 their first week, and they played Southern Miss last week. They scored 30.
37.
37.
Oh yeah, but
yeah.
I
mean, Yeah. The way I see Miami winning this is if they get the ball first, Tyler Van Dyke, they start just opening up the passing game. They get some easy passes. They maybe get a big play, you know, and then they end up with like an 8 to 10 play drive, 70 some yards, touchdown immediately. That's it. And if they show that they can dissect an A&M defense like that, that's when the game just starts going downhill. Because then we get into the whole chemistry issues you're talking about and morale and like if that first touchdown, I think Jimbo Fisher can, coach a good team to have like good mentality. But you got to remember these are people our age, right?
Right.
Maybe not Mike's age, but AGB and I's age.
Right.
That first touchdown happens and they make it look easy. That's when things, you start really having self-doubt. And then if Miami might be able to break open a game because of that.
But the thing that I was going to go for is I was going to go the Hurricanes 24-17. That I feel like A&M is going to pull what we call pre-Colts Philip Rivers. And just start slinging it downfield for needless interceptions in the fourth quarter.
Homeboy tried to be subtle, but he was the exact opposite. That was so loud.
I feel like they're just Texas A&M isn't proven yet. I think the Hurricanes can pull out this.
Here's the thing, AGB. I muted it on stream. I forgot to mute on Discord. So it was subtle for them. Wasn't subtle for you lot.
It was subtle for
Yeah, you all are blessed in his Twitch.
Yeah, I'll flick up my mic next time. I apologize.
All right, next game.
Next game. We're gonna go to Eugene. The game I'm gonna be at tomorrow at 12:30. In the student section, popping off, probably already on some shit. The Cougars are coming to Eugene. Number 12 BYU. Against Oregon. Oregon favored by 3.5.
That's wild.
Which I think is wild. I don't understand. People are treating this like BYU coming to Eugene and winning is BYU upsetting Oregon.
It's not.
It's not. It would be Oregon upsetting BYU. I don't care that, Oregon's always been this, prestigious team, and whoever beats them is an upset unless it's like the Georgia, And people are treating like BYU like they're like kind of a scrub team, they're like one of the teams without a conference. But like they're the number 2 team in returning experience. They're coming off an overtime win against the Big 12 champion. Can't discount that. But it's the Autzen Zoo for a reason. We'll see how good Oregon can be. I want you guys to go first because obviously I'm the biased one here.
You're the bias here.
All right. So listen, I'm sorry, my brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Week 1, Georgia showed y'all what was up.
Yeah.
A top 25 team did not find the end zone yet once. If it wasn't for that man's leg, your kicker's leg, you would have had a big goose egg, or shall we say a duck egg, on that scoreboard.
Okay.
That was god awful.
Yeah.
All right. Now, granted, you bounce back next week. You drop 70 on Eastern Washington.
Hey, Cooper Kupp's from there. Don't be sleeping, bro. They got a red field out there.
They got a red field.
The red. I'm clowning.
The Ducks walked out there and said, "Right." So what's this? This isn't a football field.
Well, no, they came to Eugene, but fair. Can you imagine if the scheduler's like, we're gonna send the Oregon Ducks out to Cheney, Washington, to go play a game? Yeah, no, that's worse than Pullman. I'm sorry, Wazoo fans, but
fair.
Yeah.
Anyways. I don't know what's worse. I don't know what would be worse, that or Notre Dame coming to Huntington, West Virginia, and play Marshall.
Jesus.
Well. Do you see the bag Marshall got? They got 1.5 mil for that game, and they beat them. They beat them. Well, we'll get to the Notre Dame game later.
We got to talk about that later. But I'm sorry, my brother. I have to do this to you.
Yeah.
I don't think Oregon takes this one, and I
Mhm.
think Oregon proves why they're not a top 25 team here. They're on the fringe here. They are 25 as of now,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
They're on the fringe. So I've actually looked into Bo Nix at some point before. I don't know why.
Uh,
Actually, I think it's
we
because
don't
my
want to
friends in
look into Bo
Alabama.
Nix, bro.
Is he from Alabama?
No, he's from
Yes.
Auburn. He's the team
Oh,
or the quarterback that back in his freshman year beat Justin Herbert in that comeback game in fucking Dallas, and now he's come here and then like played catch with the Georgia quarterbacks week 1, you know. But I don't want to shit. He had a really good game
okay.
last week, 5 touchdowns, yada yada yada.
Yeah. Against Eastern Washington.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yes.
so I've looked into this kid before. He's not terrible. He's not. I mean, he's good. I looked at him like he was going to be something amazing at one point. I don't know why. It's because my friend's from Alabama. He's a huge Alabama fan, and he mentioned him one time, so I looked into him.
Hmm.
He's not that bad of a quarterback, but then you also have Jaron Hall
Jaron Hall's great.
when it comes to this. Now, when I was researching this up, and I pulled the numbers back up just so I could be accurate,
Hmm.
this man is what Bo Nix wants to be.
Bro, give us Jaron Hall now. But anyway.
Bro's trying to be
give
him.
give
Yeah.
Oregon Jaron Hall, you might have this game, honestly.
Mhm.
But I mean, again, the quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. Maybe rivaled to maybe like a pitcher in MLB, maybe, but I still think that there's not a more influential position in any sport than the quarterback position that runs your offense, that makes or breaks everything that you're trying to do on that side of the field. Jaron Hall just looks spectacular compared to Bo Nix looking, average for a top 25 quarterback. Now that defense put up pretty good numbers too, keeping Baylor down to just 20. And South Florida is, they're not like a great team, but they're a decent team, keeping them at 21.
Mhm.
Baylor, like you said, is a good squad, very good team. But keeping them down to 20, I think is a bigger deal than some people
Mhm.
wanted to give it attention to. And then just with that firepower that they have on that offense, I think that BYU has to take that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Oregon.
Okay.
I think Bo Nix opens up the field a lot more than we think he will. I feel like he's gonna try to prove some doubters wrong this week from that week 1 loss, which
I like for him too, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna have a bit more passion this week, and yeah, I feel like BYU's gonna have trouble slowing him down, and yeah, much all I'll say about that.
It's not bad.
Okay.
And I will also go back and kind of counter my argument and kind of support the argument that Oregon wins. We were just talking about momentum earlier.
Mhm.
They dropped 70 last week. That man feels way better about himself.
Yeah.
So hopefully he comes in with a little bit of fire in his belly, and he comes out. He's wanting to prove everyone wrong, like how Mike said, and show us that he can be that dude.
Mhm. So yeah, I guess I'll go because I've put a lot of time into this game, and for a while I thought it was back and forth in my head this week as to who I thought would win, and I think I was leaning towards BYU most of the time. But I think we talked about Jaron Hall. Obviously, he's a great quarterback. He's got that pro potential. He's probably the best quarterback Oregon will play for the rest of the season. Unless we play like USC in the conference
Caleb
championship.
Williams.
But even then, I still think Jaron Hall is better than Caleb Williams.
Be nice.
I'm just stating facts, bro. But yeah, BYU is going to have to rely on Jaron Hall because if you also look at the Baylor game, they ran the ball 33 times and only had
Jesus.
83 yards of rushing offense.
That's
2.5 yards a carry.
Yeah,
And
I was going to say that's not even
I think Oregon's rush defense is better than both. I think it's better than Baylor's. Now, Oregon's third down defense, we can have that discussion later. It obviously wasn't great again, or wasn't good at all against
Yeah.
Georgia. Um,
Ugh.
I think out of the 10 third downs, Georgia converted 9 of them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
and then
That's
another concern
tough.
is BYU's 2 top receivers that were missing last week against Baylor as well, Puka Nakua and Gunnar Romney, are
Mhm.
still both listed day to day. I mean, there's no reason why BYU would say, hey, they're going to be available to play. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of them will be playing Saturday. And it's going to be a game time decision just for strategic purposes. But in the case that they aren't available, I don't see BYU being able to move the ball very well because I mean Oregon's defensive weakness has always been the passing game, even if it's getting better. Jaron
Yeah.
Hall is great at passing, but they haven't been really good at exploiting the opportunities their defense gives them and making big plays. And we will go to BYU's defense in a second as well. And if it's going to be the sort of offense we saw against Baylor last week, especially on the running game, I think we might see a very frustrated BYU team by the end of the first half. If they get stymied even more than Baylor did to them. But I think we should move over to Oregon now because I think Oregon's running game is kind of underrated.
It is.
Okay.
Now, the one highlight I'll have from Oregon against Georgia is our running game. Obviously, the game got out of hand. Weren't able to like operate our running game at all. There was no position. We weren't in a position to use it. But our main running back averaged over 4 yards a carry. We had 2 running backs like 7 and 8 yards per carry respectively. And I understand there was a lack of touches there, and it's a running back by committee, but we've shown that we can run ourselves through a difficult front line, something that BYU has. So I think when it comes to a running game, we'll have the advantage there. Now, on the passing attack side, BYU does have a very good secondary.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
something that limited a very good passing offense in Baylor last week. But something that that Oregon has that Baylor doesn't as much is a very athletic receiver core. Now, the question I think that will decide the game this Saturday, tomorrow, is whether or not our athletic receivers will beat the physicality that BYU has, especially at like safety.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. But I think we saw like the first pick that Bo Nix threw against Georgia. That's what happens when you have an overly athletic receiver who's like 5'9", 5'10", going against a physical corner. He's going to get out-muscled, and the corner's going to make a good play.
Yeah.
And I think this will be another game where it's like, how good is Oregon's offense? What are they able to do?
That's another
Because
thing, though. Like, if that guy does get beat down the field with that defense that we were just talking about from
Mhm.
BYU, is Bo Nix going to see that?
I think that's something we'll have to find out, how good Bo Nix will be. And as you said, I think from a conference perspective, even if it's a gimme game, that Eastern Washington game was placed exactly where it needed to be on the schedule.
I agree with
Because
that.
there's for the rest of the season, the Pac-12 eats itself alive. There's no game where
Right.
there's a rainy day in Berkeley, California. Bo Nix is not going to get a time to restore his confidence in something like that, or whatever the example might be.
That was like the worst example I've ever heard because I don't think I've ever been in Berkeley when it's raining.
Well,
Which
okay,
is a crazy
yeah,
thing.
but you get the metaphor,
From
right?
the Southern
Okay,
California native.
yeah. Or it's just like an ugly day in Pullman, or it's a downpour in Seattle at Alaska Airlines Field up
All
there,
night in Danford.
or it's like freezing fog in Corvallis.
Okay.
anyways,
Get it.
I think despite BYU's results and in spite of Oregon's results, we have 2 teams that I think arguably are underperforming based on the potential that they have.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I think that if BYU wins this game, they'll have a strong say in whether or not. I think they will be in the college football playoff if they win this game. That is, if you can put that as my hot take. The rest of the season, they have to play Notre Dame, they have to play Arkansas. There will be some good games out there, but I think they're going to be a one-loss team if they win this game.
Yeah, this is one of their true tests.
BYU. Conversely, I think Oregon, as much as this is copium, has a chance at the playoff if they win this game. If they win out, obviously, but their chance of being at the playoff resides on this game.
Well,
all right, listen. So
any
rank real fast. Just real fast. Name your teams that you think are going to be in the college football playoff if you are including Oregon. Name the team.
Oh, including Oregon. So Oregon would be the
go ahead and give
fourth. They would be number 4. There's no shot they're getting top 3. Right? They're sneaking in after the Pac-12 championship, and so I think the only instance in which Oregon gets in is if the SEC championship produces a 2-loss team. So, and I think that 2-loss team, if they lost, would be Bama. So now the question is a 2-loss Bama better than a 1-loss Oregon? I would argue that 100% yes, but would the playoff ratings committee decide that? I don't know. But Georgia's in for sure. Georgia's in for sure. I think that's clear.
That's all I need to say. What happened last week? That's all I needed.
Bama's looking kind of vulnerable. I won't get on the hype train that they're going to lose a game this year until the SEC championship. But they're looking vulnerable if Quinn Ewers can do that to them, you know?
Listen, no, it wasn't even Quinn Ewers. He was out
like the first couple drives,
half.
wasn't that Quinn Ewers?
I'm pretty sure.
That was, but he was out after that.
And then it was the backup that they're going to have a third string this week against UTSA. Also, I don't know what the line is on the UTSA game. Bet the under on that. That's all I'm saying. Anyways.
That's all I needed you to say. So if they get there.
Yeah, there's some qualifiers on their ability to be in there. If they get in that position.
We talk about voter fatigue all the time whenever it comes to MVP talks and like Defensive Player of the Year talks. Like, honestly, respectfully, Muhammad, this is going to bring you out of your show. Marcus Smart was not the Defensive Player of the Year again this year.
Factual.
Did you guys see what happened to that Utah Jazz defense whenever Rudy Gobert is not there? It falls apart. He's the best defensive player in basketball, and people, I mean, at least in that rotation, he's the most valuable piece to a defense in all of basketball. So I think, again, we have to talk about that. Like, voter fatigue is not a thing in the college football playoffs, at least for Alabama. I feel like they can go in there with 3 losses, and they'll be like, well, you know, it was because of this, it was because of this.
Well, I don't know about Alabama 3, but 2, yeah.
Alabama makes the top 4 every year. It's not respectfully go to hell. Okay, listen, you can't tell me that Marcus Smart is more important to the Boston defense than Rudy Gobert is to the Utah Jazz.
Or Giannis is to the Bucks. Or
Giannis is to the Bucks. If you take Giannis out of the Bucks, like that
defense, they get like 100 points for it.
I think we got a bit sidetracked here.
About that right now.
I think we got.
We're getting very sidetracked.
I'm just gonna put my. Oh, sorry. You go for it. You go. You finish.
No. I just don't think that they make it because I feel like they're a locks, and I feel like Ohio State, like they're gonna be up in there.
Ohio State's gonna. It's whoever wins the Big Ten's making it.
Right. So Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. Do you really think that Oregon is on that same level as those 3 teams?
I think they're gonna be better than whatever this Clemson. Well, we'll see how the Clemson product develops throughout the year.
Clemson,
I'm not convinced
I think
about Clemson
right now.
I don't think there's anyone out. The only people I can see that come out of the ACC are Miami if they beat A&M this weekend, and Clemson. That's it. Because Pitt's already lost their opportunity because they lost to Tennessee. And I'm sorry, the Volunteers they're not going to get out of the SEC West.
This is my hot take. Clemson maybe not right now, but I don't think Clemson is nearly as good as we're giving them credit for. I tuned in and watched, I think it was the second half of that football game. that quarterback has no idea what the hell they're doing.
Oh, DJ, I'm gonna butcher his last name. Uwangale?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
something
think
like that.
their backup, he's moving different.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting his name. One second.
No, it's DJ, and it's pretty close to what you said, if not spot on, actually.
Well, yeah,
But
that's their starter, but their backup is a 5-star recruit. Let me
their
look at it.
starting quarterback has no idea
Yeah,
what they're doing.
Cade
Like the rest
Klubnik.
of them,
I can't believe I forgot that man's name.
and I don't know if it was just a fit or if they just didn't know the offensive scheme, but the rest of that team looked like they were, as one. They didn't look like as they were separated and confused.
Mhm.
But that quarterback, DJ, was complete. He was all over the place. So
Yeah.
I hope to see that they do better because this Clemson
Well,
team has some
It
potential.
was
But that's going to
Uwangale
ride on his
last year
shoulders.
as well, and we saw how that
Mhm.
Clemson team turned out. And admittedly, they didn't have a second option at quarterback like they have Cade Klubnik this year. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with him.
Right.
But going to our let's finish out the playoff scenario because this might be interesting for some people. So you have the Big Ten champ. You have Georgia and 2-loss Bama. Let's say ACC champion, unless it's an undefeated Clemson, is not going to be in there. It's not going to be the second place runner up in the Big Ten. Big 12, it would have to be like an undefeated Oklahoma, I'd say, or
Yeah.
I don't even know who else would even come out of the Big 12 like that.
The problem with Oregon is that they still have to play Utah or USC in that Pac-12
Oh, we
championship.
already have to play Utah this year. That's happening. I'm pretty sure
And
it's
that's
later in
the
our schedule.
equivalent.
Is that? Wait. I could be. I
No,
could be
no,
gabbing
they
here.
are. They are.
Okay.
They are. But yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a big tester game. See if they can win
Yeah.
that
But
championship
okay,
or not.
let's get to my prediction. I do be a Duck fan, and I'm gonna go with the Ducks here, but I'm not gonna have them cover. I think it's gonna be 27-24, and I think it's gonna be one of those situations where drive down the field, last second field goal. Cade Lewis, the boy we used to clown 2 years ago, is gonna use that leg. It's gonna be a little sketchy, but it's gonna go in.
It's going to
They're
be a
gonna pull
little sketchy.
Steelers.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Johnson going up.
But yeah,
Oh,
I think it's
Lord.
gonna be a really good game. If I were to watch a college football game this weekend, I'd tune into that one.
That's I'm not even gonna get mad at you there because that is a solid. That's gonna be a really solid
Okay.
game.
I'm
It's
gonna
gonna
be
decide
watching
a lot
that
for the
and
season.
USC and Fresno.
Yeah. Okay. I was very close to putting that Fresno game on our little slate
Yeah,
there.
it
Because-
may be good. Maybe.
I mean, Fresno's already lost a game. They lost to Oregon State, which I will say Oregon State's gonna be kind of a sneaker this year. But Jake, was it? What's
Yeah,
Fresno State's quarterback?
Fresno State's always one of those sneaky
Jake Hayner.
teams.
There we go. He's gonna be what NFL drafted quarterback. We'll see how he
Yeah.
is, but he's really good. We got one more game for college football before we transition. Cal, the Golden Bears. We talked about Berkeley earlier. Is going to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame, the Golden Dome. Did you guys know that Marcus Freeman has not won a game as head coach of Notre Dame?
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
literally they're 0-3 because they had a game last season.
Well, the
didn't they?
Oklahoma State bowl game, yeah.
So they lost that. They lost to Ohio State. And then I'm in Southern Ohio, but I literally can drive about like 30 minutes and be in West Virginia.
Shout out
Like
Marshall.
I almost attended Marshall University. This may be surprising to some if you didn't already know this, or it might not be. I still fit that character, but I was a band kid. I loved marching band when I was involved in it. Hey, look at that. He muted for us this time too. How cute. But I was a huge band kid, and I actually had scholarships lined up for me going and playing in the marching band. I was a sousaphone player, that big like bass, that huge horn over above your head. That was me. And Marshall was one of those schools, but then COVID hit. And this is kind of sad. At the end of my senior year, and they were like, "Well, if you're not going to be in the marching band, we can't give you your money." And I was like, "Well, literally nobody's in the marching band right now because there's a new virus going around. Nobody knows what the hell it is." They're like, "We don't care." It's like, okay. So I was about to go to Marshall if I was about to get that bag, but I didn't get that bag, and your boy is broke.
The tea
So I
about
didn't
the
end up going
thundering
there.
herd.
But I have to say, I'm still proud of my boys for going out there, and they've not really been really relevant since what, Randy Moss, Chad Pennington, stuff
No,
like that. over
no,
in
I'd
Marshall.
argue they
over-
weren't really even relevant when they had Chad Pennington.
Right,
But
right.
alas.
Like I don't know. Like they've not been relevant for a long time. I don't think that. Not saying that I think they'll be relevant this year, but me hearing that a team like 30, 40 minutes down the road just beat Notre Dame, that was really cool. Now I also have to say, Huntington, West Virginia boys just beat the Fighting Irish. What makes any of us think that these Berkeley boys aren't going to do the same thing? They are a different breed than these Huntington guys.
That is a very good question.
I don't think that I mean, they put up what was it last week? What was the score? Hang on, let me check here. It was 26-21. Also, I was watching the live feed for this game. They had the ball in their hands within the last 6 minutes. I think it was twice. If it wasn't
threw a pick six and they got a touchdown on the last drive, but it was completely irrelevant because it was 26-14.
It was
It was a last-second touchdown to make it 26-21 or whatever the final score was.
Right. You had the chance to put the game back on your side, and you throw a pick six, and you do all these things, and you can't get your offense down the field twice, and you can't trust in your defense to get a stop against this Marshall team. That defense wasn't bad.
I will say Notre Dame's defense has been the one saving grace of their team. It was really good against Ohio State. And it's getting its job done. It's doing what it's supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It allowed 19 essentially against Marshall because we're not going to count a pick six against the defense.
That's still the thing, though. They allowed 19 against Marshall.
Okay, that's 19 points in a football game. Like, even the best defenses
against Marshall.
Okay.
Rams allowed 30, so.
Okay, like even good teams against superior opponents, it's hard to keep people completely off the board.
Right.
Very rarely is there shutouts.
Yeah. But like they're doing what they're supposed to do. Like you'd expect a Notre Dame offense to be able to go out there and score 3 touchdowns.
Right.
I don't think that's like particularly egregious, like an egregious thing to say.
Right.
That being said, Notre Dame's offense, I don't know, man. Quarterback. I mean, we talked about the importance of quarterback earlier. I don't know if they have a good quarterback right now. I think they both will potentially have good quarterbacks in the future, but they're just not ready right now.
We have to go back to that head coach too. I don't even know if it's just the quarterback position. I think it's just that coach doesn't know what to do with this offense yet.
Yeah,
they look confused. And when I was watching that Ohio State game, they looked confused.
Mm-hmm. And I was close to calling this like a wounded animal Notre Dame game, but in some ways it is because they lost to Marshall. People expected them to lose to Ohio State. Now they've lost to Marshall, and now they're like, can you imagine if Notre Dame starts the season 0-3?
0-3, that would be nuts.
Weren't they ranked to start the
They were
season?
number 8.
God Lord.
No. They were 5. So
they
were 5.
See,
Ohio State beat them. They dropped to 8,
yeah.
And now they're just out of the top 25 because they got beat by Marshall.
I watch Josh Pate. If you guys know him.
God.
And it's I think his power ranking kind of made or something like that. But
right.
Let's talk a little about Cal because people don't. I think everyone's focusing on the 12.5 point favorites Notre Dame. By the way, if you're taking the over on that, you are a psychopath.
Yeah.
I don't even trust Notre Dame to put up 13. But the Golden Bears are 2-0. They've had 2 gimme games, although. Admittedly, their game last week against UNLV, they couldn't put that game away if they wanted to.
Wasn't good.
Right.
We talked about Notre Dame not having a good offense. Cal's offense, while it's been good, again, I struggle to say good against the
I
competition
like
that
their
they've had.
quarterback.
Their quarterback's
I
been
like-
good.
Yeah, I like Kyle.
Yeah,
I
and
have to say
and-
that they've been good against gimme games. They've
Yeah.
not been good against good teams.
yeah, and they're again, it's another instance of their defense doing what it needs to do, but it's not anything to write home about. And then the O line of Cal is where I have my worry on this game because it hasn't been great. And then we go to a Notre Dame team, which I think will have the ability to just put pressure on Cal the entire game. As much as I don't think Notre Dame's, like, fit to be a top 25 team right now, I can't see Cal. I can't see Cal going to South Bend. But then we said that about Marshall. I don't know.
This game will not put them back in the top 25. It won't.
Yeah.
But
It will not.
But man, if they do win it, that's one step closer. But I think Cal wins this.
You think Cal wins?
think Cal wins.
I don't like
I
Heisel
would
owner
honestly love to see Notre
Hannah.
Dame go down
As
0-3.
much as I want to see the Pac-12 beat another school from outside the Pac-12, because people be clowning on the Pac-12.
That's some age.
I don't know.
way
Something
Mike
in
is
my
right there.
bones is saying Notre Dame's going to win this. They're not going to cover, but I think it's going to be one of those
don't
games
think
where
they
it's.
cover
So
either.
I have 24-14 Notre Dame written on my screen. I want to change that to 17-14 Notre Dame,
I agree on that. I
but
think it's gonna be a lower scoring game.
it's going to be ugly. It's if you were to watch a game this weekend, I wouldn't watch this one.
The reason why I'm
No.
another reason why I'm picking Cal to win is because they have a very experienced defense. You have
Mhm.
a lot of year 3+ players on that defense.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure one of their interior linemen, Jackson Sermon, 5 year, got redshirted in I think
Mhm.
year 2, or year 1. But I really like him. I really like him.
Muhammad, you clown in chat.
The conference
I think I might
champion.
have to say the same thing
Yeah.
though. I hate to say it, like, because I'd like to see California win. I'd love to see Notre Dame go down 0-3, but I think that I just don't see it. I don't see Notre Dame starting off 0-3. I think it's going to be a very gritty one. I agree with Atlas in that sense. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say if you're wanting to watch a game this weekend, don't watch this one. Because if you like
It's
defense,
probably it's gonna be
if
close.
you like down to the bones, knit and grit
You know what?
football, like old style, this is gonna be your game this weekend.
You know what? I'm
This
going to
is
compare
be a
this to
very
another.
defensive show out.
I'm going to compare this to an NFL game that happened last week, and it's going to be Bears Niners. I feel like that's going to be what this game is.
That
Mhm.
was tough because of the weather, but
Yeah.
I mean that was still very nitty and gritty.
Yeah.
If you liked watching that game, you're gonna like watching this game. Also,
I will say whoever
one
put the
more.
line at 12.5 for this game in favor of Notre Dame
You're-
is
you're
on. I
wild.
want whatever
they're
you're
handing
smoking.
out money. They're handing out money, bro.
Like, it's crazy out here.
You know what? I'm gonna go on CBS Sports right now. The line's probably moved.
It has to have, right?
Oh,
I-
it's now at 11.
It
Oh,
moved
in
down.
favor.
It moved down, people.
Yeah, the
They still
over under's
take it.
40.5. That's an under. I'm taking that. You know,
Yeah,
eventually let's pull our own Josh Pate, put our own betting on the screen. Our best bets.
All right.
But I think that's
so-
our college football section this week. Where do we want to go to next?
NFL review.
NFL review.
We can do NFL review.
All right.
I'm just gonna be
So-
crying this entire time because of what my Titans just did against the Giants. I
You know-
can't. Mike Vrabel, what
Um,
are you doing, my guy?
I'm probably the only person here with a winning team last week.
Shut up. Okay, listen. All right. So let's start off with this. Believe by request, can I have the Bengals and Steelers game right before we do the Chargers and Chiefs game? So can we
Yeah.
do that one second
Yeah.
to last, and then the most recent game last? But then
Yeah.
from there we just start at the season opener. Okay.
Yeah.
First thing I have to say, and I hate to be a week one overreactor. The Buffalo Bills are legit and they are scary. They are the team to beat in the AFC, if not the whole league.
Mhm.
Josh Allen showed that he's legit. He can do just about everything on the football field. That Rams like offense just could not get rolling. They both have good defenses, but the Bills defense showed just how elite they were.
Von
I
Miller
think
puts in some
The
work.
thing that's exactly what I was about to say. I think the transition of Von Miller from one squad to another was heavily underrated this week. Not this week, this whole offseason. Everyone's like, "Oh, we got Bobby Wagner. He's gonna fill up that hole." Did you see what happened to that man?
Dude, Bobby
That
Wagner was
that man
ranked
tried
over
to
Fred Warner.
that
Bobby
man
Wagner
tried
was
to
ranked
body
over
slam
Fred Warner.
Josh Allen out of the end zone, and he couldn't even do that. While Von Miller had Matthew Stafford's number.
God,
So,
Stafford looks
that
so
game
bad.
was nuts. Any other? I mean, that's my thoughts on it. You guys can go ahead and keep on taking.
So I'll also chip in my thoughts about this game. This game could have been way worse for the Rams than it actually
it
was.
really could have been.
Because the Bills didn't want to risk like double covering Cooper Kupp on every play, but they didn't expect Matthew Stafford to literally only know how to go to Cooper Kupp.
That's it.
And Matthew Stafford apparently had elbow like procedure.
He had those issues throughout the offseason. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that may have affected him because there was like some like lip readers that like when Stafford was walking up to Sean McVay, he's like, I can't throw or I can't hold the ball, whatever. Like that is a serious injury. Like if possible, I'd probably hold him week 2 against the Falcons. With how good that team is, I think the Rams can afford using their backup for one game to let Stafford rest.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing: can they afford to go down 0-2 though?
I think they can. I don't think that
I think if
NFC
they
West
go
is
0-2, they're
that.
going to end up in the wild card because I don't think they win like 10 straight.
No,
or
but the
anything
NFC
crazy like
West
that.
though. Like
This is true.
I don't care. Rams are not the NFC. I don't see that more. I think Stafford's pretty much 2019 Jameis Winston. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean,
He started
to be
looking
fair,
a lot like the Detroit Stafford that we've known for a long time last
as
week.
as much as the Broncos made Geno Smith look like an MVP candidate last week, I don't think the Seahawks. It's in their best interest to tank, so I think that's gonna happen eventually. The Cardinals, I can't trust them to win more than 9 games this season. Kyler Murray just disappears the second half of the season. And then the 49ers, I still don't know what to get out of them.
Yeah, so I think with the Niners, I think Jimmy G started by week 5.
Oh.
Is it hot take section already?
That wasn't even a hot take. I just think that's gonna happen.
Man, listen, I just don't know I don't know about Trey Lance, man. And I was watching
I don't
something
think he's
earlier
ready
this
yet.
week. I've been watching a lot of my own sports podcasts lately. Shout out to Stephen A. because that man is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But they were talking at one point about if you put Trey Lance up front and say this is your offense, give him like 5 to 6 games, get to the middle of the season, say, never mind, kids, sit back down.
That's what I was thinking.
What does that do to him? Does that say, oh, we don't need you? Oh, no, we don't trust you?
That's a don't want you kind of thing.
Right. So what happens there? They're in a tough spot. I feel like they almost should have just started off the season with Jimmy G. And then if things weren't working with Jimmy G, then go to Trey. Because if you go from Jimmy G to Trey back to Jimmy G, that's awful for Trey Lance.
Honestly, I don't.
That's awful for the whole franchise. I don't know what they do with the quarterback situation.
Even if Trey Lance isn't 100% ready, it's not like the 49ers are punished for having a bad season.
Not the Niners are in a spot to win for a lot of years. That defense is young. They're in a position to just
shout out my boy Eric Armstead.
Ayo. And they're in a position to get just constant first rounders and keep improving that team because that team's young and they're going to be good for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like Fred Warner, he's a beast. Of course, you have Bosa, and then you have Eric Armstead. That team's going to be good, but I don't think Lance right now is ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Garoppolo is the starter by week 5.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like Trey Lance is ready either. I have to say that, and I hate to say that, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. I can't say that based off that week 1 performance, or I think it still might be a little early because those weather conditions were horrendous.
Yeah.
And like I
Receiver
said,
form.
gel
Yeah.
chemistry. Those guys have to figure out what they're doing all together as a unit. They have to figure out how they, he has to figure out how his receivers run routes.
Mhm.
They have to figure out a way to communicate with one another still. So I think that there's still a lot of work to be done there. But I just don't know how I feel about him. I just don't feel like I don't feel like he was worth reaching for over guys like Justin Fields and
I
of that
don't
nature.
think it was worth reaching for Justin Fields either.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Justin Fields I think is going to be okay. I think that he'll be okay.
What,
I
above
just don't know-
average?
average.
I don't think he's gonna be a star.
I
I don't- I
I
don't
think
doubt
we're
I
we're
definitely
looking
don't
we're
like
looking
Taylor
at
Swift.
someone Ryan Tannehill's level,
Right.
With Fields?
Right.
and I'm saying that as a Titans fan, and I
Better than
probably
Ryan
have the
Tannehill.
highest opinion of Ryan Tannehill out of anyone in this podcast, but
Nah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, no. I'll give you that one for sure.
well, yeah,
All right.
Another
Going down the
game I
list.
want to highlight is the Packers' abysmal performance against the Vikings. 23-7.
oh yeah, I
They
mean,
shouldn't want dropping a pass on the first play of the game.
Aaron Rodgers, two-time MVP, looked very vulnerable, looked very human. Looked like
So-
he was very much carried by Devontae Adams.
This is what happens when the Packers don't draft skill positions. I don't get it. I don't know what Matt LaFleur has been smoking for the past 5 years, but
This
when your
draft is
best
terrible.
option is injured and that best option is Alan Lazard, you need to reconsider what's happening.
No.
You need to do
But
something.
no, the only highlight for the Packers that game was Jordan Love off the bench. 4 for 5 on completions,
Yeah.
and he threw, 65 yards? That's not bad. That's almost half of Rodgers' total and
Yeah.
way more passes.
And like 5 attempts.
Yeah.
I feel like Jordan Love's had more time to work with that offense. Just give Rodgers time, maybe it
I
gets better.
think
until
Jordan
he's
Love
gone.
is going to be the starter in Green Bay next year.
Next year.
By next year, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I hate to say this.
I-
Aaron Rodgers, I love him as a player. I love watching him. I don't
Wow.
like him as a person.
I think he's retiring
Okay.
after this season. I don't know
I
why I
don't
would
think
think
that
that, but
he's-
it's just a feeling in my bones.
I don't feel like he's going to do well with this younger squad. And I don't think that he's going to do well with the fact that you guys let my boy Devontae Adams go. Like,
Oh, he's either going to retire or force himself out of Green Bay.
Yeah.
he's going to try and go somewhere and win one more chip. And I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen in Green Bay. I mean, I think they might even lose in like the wild card this year.
He's going to
I
take
don't
his
think they're
talents
gonna
to
go
South
deep at all.
Beach.
Oh my
Going to take his talents to
god.
South Beach.
What?
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
no, but the problem is
Tyreek Hill, though. Hear me out.
he's gonna get diffed by Tua though. That's the problem.
Okay, here's a
As
really
much as I
interesting
don't
game
like
that I
Tua,
saw
but
in week 1. A really interesting game that I was looking at was the Chargers and Texans. The Chargers and
Jesus.
Raiders. That was
Raiders,
that was
there
a
we
real
go.
that was a great game. I'm on the Herbo train now, guys. I remember all offseason I was like,
Hey, yo.
Joe Burrow is better than Justin Herbert. If we're looking at week 1, that is a completely abysmal take.
we looking at week 2 as well, but we'll get to that.
He outperformed her. Mahomes.
He threw the game.
Don't care.
Anyways, let's go.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Devontae Adams looked stellar. That was a fantastic game. We could see glimpses of Mike Williams in week 1, which we saw heavy in week 2 last night. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
The problem with me
there
for
wasn't-
Devontae performance is that J.C. Jackson wasn't there. He had
Right,
to go against the second
right.
string.
I'm
not-
I think that game was close. It was a fun game to watch. It was a fun game
Mm-hmm.
to go back and look at the highlights. I think with that J.C. Jackson there, I think the score is way
Yeah.
farther apart.
Yeah. But
um,
I'm very intrigued by the college connection between Derek Carr and Devontae Adams and see how that
That's gonna be
progresses.
fun.
I'm not even
That's
sure.
gonna be
Again,
fun.
here's another take just out of nowhere. I think 3 teams from the AFC West make the playoffs.
I think the fourth team is the Broncos that don't make it.
I don't think the
I
Broncos
don't think
make
the
it.
Broncos make it.
Chiefs.
Yep.
Chiefs second. Chargers first.
Y'all got smoked by
Bears.
Geno Smith week 1. Y'all ain't making the playoffs. I'm sorry.
Russ Wilson, bro. What the heck?
Wilson looked
He
good.
looked better than Russ. I can't
but-
lie.
Bruh, Mariota looked better than Russell Wilson.
No. No.
Okay,
the
since you want to
problem
bring up Mariota, that's another game that I wanted to
Oh,
talk about. The
yeah.
Falcons are
The
already
Falcons
back to
threw
blowing
that
leads,
game.
bro. They're already back to blowing leads, bro. Back to the Atlanta Falcons.
23.
I can't.
No.
This is what this franchise does. I don't understand, bro. They have
Yeah.
They did it in
Kyle
2020
Pitts,
against
And like,
Tampa Bay.
okay,
with
yeah,
Marcus
part of it is
Mariota
the
and then
fumbles
Cordero
that
Patterson. That's
happen.
all they did the whole game, and they
Mariota
finally caught
did
up on
not
it. And the
target
Saints
Pitt
defense
enough.
was like, "Oh, okay, just contain these two guys because they don't have a major player in their offense named Calvin Ridley because he decided to go on DraftKings in the middle of the season and bet on himself."
Yeah.
They said,
Wow, so
"Hey,
he's
Calvin,
winning.
bet on yourself." He said, "I
Imagine
say no more,
Calvin
G."
Ridley getting a longer suspension than Deshaun Watson. That's the crazy thing.
Wait. Yeah, man. Imagine if that happened, bro.
Imagine if
Damn.
Deshaun
Imagine.
Watson's coming back in the game the Browns play the Texans. Like, that would be crazy. That's like a really odd coincidence, don't you think?
Man. All right.
Since we want to talk about Deshaun Watson, let's talk about his squad in the Panthers week 1. They
Kareem Hunt carried my fantasy team.
that running game from the Browns was exactly what it needed to be. If
But
Jacoby
How many
also-
Brissett
touches
is
were on
not
the
going-
ground? Like, unironically. It was like
let me go
above
look at this.
30. I know Kareem Hunt probably had more than 10. Chubb
it
carried.
was 33.
It was
40. It
ridiculous.
was 40.
40 on the
carries.
ground. And then my boy Nick Chubb had like, what was it? I think it was like 18 points last week in fantasy. And then I think
Kareem Hunt had
Hunt
like 20.
Yeah.
22.
So, I mean, 40 points combined for those, pretty much combined with those two running backs in fantasy. And they just popped off both individually as well. I mean, they did great. That running game looked exactly like what they needed it to be. That defense did a pretty good job. Baker had a pretty good bomb down the field. You know, Christian McCaffrey looked like Christian McCaffrey again. That offense, I don't think is going to be bad. I think that Carolina Panthers team has hope. I think that they're going to be okay. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs or anything, but they're going to be a good, middle of the road team. I think they're gonna be
Especially
fun
with the
to watch.
Saints. The Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're not going to allow them to playoffs.
Yeah.
Four games left there.
That was a fun game to watch. The Falcons game was a fun game to watch. What else are we missing? The Eagles and Lions, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That was a really high scoring game.
I'm going to say
Patriots,
the
Dolphins
thing
was
that
fun.
surprised me the most out of week 1 was Carson Wentz throwing for over 300 yards.
That
that
didn't
was
surprise me.
nuts.
I don't
That's not
care
surprising
if
me.
it's against the Jags,
No,
but
I think Wentz is a good QB. I think he's too,
I think he does
scared
have
of
a little
getting
bit
hurt
too much
again.
hate. I think he
Wentz-
does have a bit too much hate, but I don't think that he's a good quarterback. I think that's a wild take.
Watch. You can watch Wentz during some highlights. Like whenever he throws in coverage, it's because he doesn't want to get hurt. He's scared of getting hurt. It's not like his
He is.
awareness.
I'd say he's a top 15 quarterback.
No,
here's the
that's
thing.
fair. Because
I
he's
don't
very
But
know
mature.
even
about
if
all
he's
that.
number
That's the hottest
15
take.
on that,
Muhammad, where are you at? Come help me.
even if it
Help
is,
me.
if he's number 15 on that list,
I'm in here with psychopaths.
He's
I don't
better
need
than
that.
you, huh? Well,
I don't think I can name 15 quarterbacks that are better than him. I don't think his being good is what's making him top 15. I just think other starting quarterbacks in the league are kind of iffy right now. Anyways,
I definitely wish that.
do we want to talk about the Bucks Cowboys game?
I'll
I
cover
mean,
that.
No,
I
there's
think-
no reason to. I mean, Dak
no,
got hurt, and
the-
that
no,
offense was
no.
The
terrible.
only
The
reason,
Bucks are okay.
yeah, the only thing
Tom
notable
Brady
about
didn't
it,
look like Tom Brady. He didn't look as good as he should have.
Dak
Well,
Prescott
yeah, well,
getting
yeah,
hurt is
week
probably
one.
the biggest thing out of that because I think that
It's
completely
week
wipes
one.
out the Cowboys from having a sniff at the NFC East this year.
No,
but
they're
man, Mike Evans looked good. Mike Evans looked good.
Yeah.
Jordan
You
White
guys
is one of the
need
better receivers in
whatever
this
is going
movie.
on in that wide receiver room. Why they're like the
so-
glass the glass
so-
bones of a paper skin
so,
over there in
ju-
that
ju-
wide receiver
just-
room. They all need to
just-
get healthy.
Just today, Godwin was ruled out for Sunday. Evans is clear, I think, for
He's
Evans
clear,
is
but
clear.
he's iffy.
Julio. I believe is
Probably
also clear to
but
play.
He has no other choice because everyone else is hurt.
Hopefully, Russell Gage is back by week 2, which could be a good fourth option when Godwin comes back. Kyle Rudolph, the
Yeah.
legend.
Julio Jones is not going to be there.
I will say
that-
Kyle
I mean-
Rudolph was an absolute homie about 6 years ago in fantasy.
Oh, fair.
No, he was great in 2019.
Brought him on the Vikings, bro.
Right.
Back when.
He has potential.
Uh,
man.
All right, so let's move on.
Oh,
There's not much to look at in that game.
actually, one more thing. Leonard Fournette also looked really good. 127
Leonard
yards
Fournette
on the
does look
ground.
solid.
He he's always that big game player, which against the Cowboys you need that
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
you have Micah Parsons. That's a hard force to stop, and Leonard kind of ruined that man's whole career by sticking him during a rush. Dude died. And that's the type of stuff you want from your running back to prevent him from getting the QB, because Tom Brady gets absolutely destroyed on that play if it weren't for Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So I think so.
Um,
We got 2 games left. 2 games we want to talk about, and that's the Steelers
Right.
Bengals, and then it's going to be Chiefs Chargers from this
All
week
right.
so far.
With the Bengals and Steelers game, I have to ask you guys:
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What you have to ask?
are we worried about the Cincinnati Bengals, or are we just like
I'm not
we-
worried.
I'm not
Evan
worried.
I'm not
Mc-
worried either?
Evan McPherson and the lawn snapper lost him.
That's exactly what happened. Clark Harris went down that right bicep.
How did the
was-
lawn snapper get hurt, by the way?
Clark Harris is a gym. Hang on, let me look up how old this man is because he is old. He's been in Cincy for a while.
But McPherson can't be going around missing
He
kicks like that. Hey,
Yeah,
I-
I had
I
him on
have
my
to-
team.
I have
I'm
to
a,
say that
I'm
as
a
well.
bit livid.
Yeah,
like
so Clark Harris is 38.
also speaking
Uh,
on kickers, can we just talk about how Rodrigo Blankenship was waived?
Waived. Yeah, that man
Yeah.
is gone.
That's kind
No
of
Yeah,
longer
he
has a
got
job.
released.
I-
Just because he missed one kick.
Yeah.
One kick.
He also floundered some last
I
season. If you go
yeah.
back and look at that.
I will say, a little bit worried about Burrow. I hope this isn't him worried about getting hurt again, which I think is which
he
is a
shouldn't be.
reasonable fear. I understand they upgraded
It
that
is.
O-line, but we saw how far that got them against the Steelers.
Right.
No, and it's not even their fault. Steelers have an incredible D line. That's just hard to stop. T.J. Watt, that's Defensive Player of the Year
Yeah.
when he's healthy.
Right. And also,
Um,
T.J. Watt is
so-
out for a little while.
So yeah, give me
But-
this game they have Sunday against the Cowboys. Let's see how they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
This is gonna be an ugly game. Ugly game, right there. Both bad opponents right here.
Yeah.
Going into week 2, not looking hopeful
Right.
for either team.
I think that I still think that line needs time to gel. This is going to be their toughest, like
Mhm.
very 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 tough test to start off the season.
Yeah.
I
Um,
really liked how Alex Cappa looked on the O line though.
Mhm. Like okay, if
Yeah, Alex Cappa looks
boy.
good.
yeah.
Cordell
Tampa
Volson
Bay
got
boy.
a huge welcome to the NFL
If-
first game. He
yeah.
was just he was just drafted this offseason. But I
Same
can't
with
can't give all the hate to the O line. I could do that last year. I could do that last year. I
This
mean-
was definitely not on the O line, I think, because I think they held that D line pretty well some plays, and then Burrow
Right.
just didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I'm even looking at them right now. There's 2 of them that literally were intercepted by the defensive line.
Yeah,
One of them was tipped up
you don't
and
want
it
that.
fell right into whose hands are that? Well, it falls
it's like
right into
Carson
one of the
Wentz.
hands.
See,
No, actually, did TJ Watt have both of those interceptions last week? on the
He
off-
had
on the
one at
defensive line?
least.
Yeah,
Wait,
so there was one instance where it literally just tipped right down into his hands, and I guess there was another moment where Jesus Christ himself just looked down at TJ Watt and said, "Lift your hands, my son. The ball will fall on you." Because he literally just he lifted up his hands, I think just to block it, but then he was like, "Oh shit, I had the football in my hand." So I mean, that first pass over to Minka Fitzpatrick was just god awful.
Minka fucking tore up that
That was
offense.
double coverage. That was ridiculous.
Oh, bro,
so-
That was the
yeah.
first pass attempt of his season was a pick 6. That has
Yeah.
to be some kind of curse. That was
Yeah.
not good. We don't like to see that. And then the other one, down whenever he threw it down the field, he threw it to Jamar. It looked like it was in like a play action. It didn't look. It just didn't look like a good ball. I can't give that to the offensive line's fault. I think that he
Yeah.
just threw a bad ball there. I think he threw a bad ball in the first one. The one where TJ Watt just lifted his hands and it fell into his arms infuriates me. And the other one was a tip pass that fell into somebody's hands as well. So I don't think
That's
that's that
unlucky.
bad.
That's
I don't
unlucky.
think that's bad. 2 of
One
those were
interception
unlucky,
is something,
very
but
unlucky.
3.
Because I mean,
he had
honestly, if we take those
4.
2 out, he only has 2 interceptions. Then nobody's going to talk about how Josh Allen had 2 interceptions. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Well, one of them
But-
wasn't even his fault.
Right.
It was literally grabbed out of the hands of his receiver,
Right.
like
This is true.
yanked.
See,
This is true.
here I don't
Okay.
have this as a hot take, but I'm gonna say this, and I want to see your reaction, AJB, and I want to see Mike's reaction to this too.
Oh no.
Burrow threw 53 passes. I don't know if this is going to be a common theme throughout the Bengals season that he is going to be throwing upwards of 50
I don't
per
think so.
game.
They played almost 100 snaps on offense. Is
Yeah,
that
That
I don't know. I just if if Burrow continues being worried about getting hurt, and if this interception problem, if it even is
Lingers.
one, lingers, I think we're looking at 2019 Jameis Winston.
hey,
I-
my
I hate
boy,
to even
5,000
think about that.
yards.
I hate to even think
And
about that.
I don't
want
like
that, to
that
become a
because
thing.
I rate Burrow so much higher than I rated Winston back then.
No shit.
Yeah,
Right,
Mr.
no.
Crab Legs himself.
I feel like
Man,
I,
mister, I'm
I've
gonna
had
throw
him in
Mike
the
Evans
top
every
five
time.
conversation. I've had him in the top five quarterback conversation over all the offseason, and then that game one made me look like
Look,
an
look,
absolute
I
idiot.
wouldn't. I'll. Burrow's definitely top
'Cause
10. I think top
he's definitely
5.
top
We can
10.
have that argument. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't change his positioning based on just week 1. We need to see
Yeah,
what
right.
happens week 2. It's another good passing defense, good pressure defense of the
Right.
Cowboys.
You have guys like Minka Fitzpatrick, DeMarcus Lawrence, you have Trevon Diggs.
Yeah,
you
if
know.
if Micah Parsons can get pressure on
If-
Burrow
if-
throughout that game,
Wait.
it's not gonna look good.
If
It's
Micah
not gonna look
Parsons
good.
can push through Christian Wirfs, an all-pro level right tackle,
Yeah.
that easily, I don't know how good the Bengals O-line is going to be,
It's-
man.
Look,
They have guys like
I'm
Alex
looking. I'm
Cavalier,
looking in
Collins.
this up and coming weekend for Joe
Yeah.
Mixon to have a really good game because I
Yeah,
think
I
there's
think
gonna
Joe
there's
Mixon's
gonna
gonna
be
have
a
a good
lot of safety valve action. I think, and I think the rushing game will be there for the Bengals as much as that O line is
That's
kind
where
of
Joe Burrow
existing
thrives,
right
though.
now.
Joe Burrow thrives whenever he has the short pass going, and when he's doing
Mhm.
checkdowns to guys like Joe Mixon. Last year, another reason I like CJ Uzomah a lot is because he would just run off to the side, run
Mhm.
out of bounds with it, and get up quick, a quick 3 or 4 yard gain.
Yeah.
You know, just something like that. I think that opens up the field for a lot of their other guys. It
Yeah.
opens up stuff for Jamar. It opens up stuff for Joe Mixon because you have to be looking down the field, but also off to the sides, or else you're just going to
Mhm.
give up a 4 or 5
Yeah,
pass
I
play
feel
every
like
once in a while, or you could have Joe Mixon just go right up the middle. You know, there's you gotta kind of pick your poison with that offense. I think that they have to focus more on getting some short passes going and being a bit safer with the ball and doing checkdowns rather than throwing stuff over, over where Minka Fitzpatrick is
Yeah.
lurking right behind your receiver.
that's
I think you have to be smarter with the football. I think that, I hate to say it because I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan. He is Mr.
But,
Ohio,
yeah.
playing for the Ohio, my Ohio team. I think
Mhm.
he has to make smarter decisions.
Yeah.
And I
The-
think that he'll do that in week 2.
And another problem with the Bengals last week is that I feel like they tried too hard on their play calling. I feel like they were doing complex routes, which they really didn't have to. And I think that ended up them losing because you saw later in that game they started shortening up the ball. They started passing it shorter. They actually started getting into a groove of things. Earlier in the game, they were kind of going for like 30-yard passes every play.
Mhm.
Right.
It was not the move.
Cue Philip Rivers on the Chargers reference again.
Fourth quarter.
All right. So I've already had my spiel about
Okay.
my team.
Think
Let's
we go to
move
the
on to
one game this week.
the-
That's
Yeah,
happened?
the game that's already happened. The Chargers and the Chiefs.
I will
That
say
was a fun game to watch. Battle of two, probably for me, MVP candidates.
Battle
I
of
think
the
that
refs.
this is the battle of the
Battle of the
it's not even the battle of the refs. The refs are just on a. Okay, we're not
Jeez,
going to blame a
I-
game on the refs. We're not. As much as I
Yeah,
think the
I hate to
Chargers
do that.
deserved that win.
Yeah, I feel like these are Herbert outplayed Mahomes.
Yeah, and
Mahomes should have had 2 interceptions.
I'm
I mean,
worried about Herbert going forward. I think it was a rib
it was-
fracture. It's going
it
to be
was
one
a-
of those
a-
things where it's going to linger with him
he
throughout the
threw
season.
a 30-yard pass with fractured
Yeah.
ribs, though.
But his mobility, I don't know what is going to happen for the rest of the season. I don't think sitting out a week and letting Chase Daniel do his thing again. I don't know who the Chargers are playing.
The
week
guy
two.
who no, it's Chase McDaniel, the guy who's made $43 million in earnings over his career, having 8 starts.
Yeah. So I don't know if that 1 week of sitting out is going to help Herbert a lot.
It's
But I still think Herbert's going to be a great passer throughout the season. He's obviously, I think he has one, if not the best arms in the league. Like if Josh Allen wasn't there, he'd be the cannon of the league. But God,
there's a
Patrick Mahomes
luxury.
is in that conversation. He's not up. He's not up to that real level, but he's. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's. I feel like he's in that conversation.
There is a luxury about getting hurt on Thursday. You have more time to rest depending on when your game is.
Yeah, you have 10 days.
Chargers game's on either Sunday or Monday. I think it's on Sunday, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
I believe it is a Sunday game.
But yeah,
but you have 10 days
Herbert's
to
gonna
recover.
get more
And
rest.
also, mind you, it's not a fractured rib; it's fractured rib cartilage, which I don't think is too much of a difference there. But it's just day to day. It's just day to day. And with that 10-day break, I think he's going to come back and he's going to be fine. I don't think that's going to be something that.
And they, admittedly, they are playing the Jags next weekend. If they want, if Brad Staley wants to take out Herbert in the third, because they can run up the score on the Jags.
But I also have to say, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. I think his situation is really unique. Well, not unique, but I think that it's interesting. A lot of people counted him out because you lost your guy Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on that train all offseason saying that Tyreek Hill is not overrated, but he's not what made that offense. We're forgetting about what Patrick Mahomes is.
I mean, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Right, and Travis Kelce is also there. But if you're replacing Tyreek Hill with Juju Smith, and you're still somehow making the plays that you were last year,
I mean, to be fair,
I think that he personally looks better because if you're watching the Kansas City Chiefs last year and the year before, you know where the football is going.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where the football is going now. I've heard that from reporters all week, and that's exactly what I've been saying. This offense is way more diversified, and we're seeing why Patrick Mahomes is that guy because he's having to put his vision to the test. He's having to work harder to make these plays happen.
I mean,
he's having to make sure that he's making the right plays because you can't just look down the field and there's Tyreek in the end zone all by himself.
Yeah,
you have to think more about what you're doing. You have to be more careful with the play call, and you have to know your guys. And he knows his guys.
Which is really going to test Mahomes down this last stretch of the season. Really going to test to see if he's the MVP or not. Because even we saw this week, Juju Smith-Schuster went 2 catches, 14 yards as the number one receiver.
Yeah,
they went to Kelce, they went to Sky Moore a lot, which I like.
Edwards-Helaire,
yeah.
Right.
Even though Derwin James really locked up Travis Kelce. Hard.
Okay, yeah. We'll get to that. There's 2 people I want to shout out on the Chargers defense, and they're a part of a take later, part of our segment. But
yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess we could get to that now. As much as I think Mahomes was bailed by a couple of the calls by the refs, illegal contact. I still think Asante Samuel Jr. got that pick.
That's questionable.
It's questionable, but yeah.
I feel like he held the ball.
I want to give 2 shout-outs on the Chargers defense. First is to Derwin James. That man, when he's healthy, he is the one, if not the best strong safety in the league.
I think he is the best strong safety.
And he was flying all over the place. Man hit-sticked Kelce. Like, what?
That was
no. It wasn't even hit-stick.
That's what I'm saying.
That was the suplex, bro. Like, you see, like, Kelce went on a podcast, I think, like, earlier today, and was like, he's like, he gave him props.
Right. And then next game.
Mm-hmm. And then I want to give shout out to my boy Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah.
He almost had another pick in the end zone later in the game. We've already talked about the first one. But AGB might not remember this, but before the first game of the season, I said Asante Samuel Jr. is going to be the difference on that Chargers defense because I just rated him after last season. Him on one side of the field and J.C. Jackson on the other side of the field is a terrifying concept.
It's terrifying. But J.C. Jackson did not look good.
He didn't. Admittedly, he was not as good. He got burned.
But he was like kind of playing injured. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't fully done with his recovery. I think he was kind of rushed to deal with guys like Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster. Like there's a reason Juju didn't get money. J.C. Jackson. But when he had to cover someone else that he wasn't familiar with, kind of got burned.
Yeah.
Which that
Right.
burn was by a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, by the way.
Oh
Yeah, you have
my
to call
God.
that out. Yeah.
Yeah,
We had to.
2018
We
legend,
had to.
bro.
Yeah.
Um,
Chargers defense is scary.
very scary.
Khalil Mack.
I
what?
I
3
think
sacks?
that honestly they're top. I can comfortably say top 5, but maybe even the top 3 defense.
Bruh,
It's
this
top
this
three.
was this was one of my hot takes. I said top 5 talented defense.
That's not a hot take for me.
That's not a hot take. That's,
Okay,
that's
well, I
that's
guess I have a very
common
tepid
knowledge.
take for that segment. We don't even have to talk about it. It's fine.
I have a couple here.
do we want to rotate to that? Anything else we want to talk about?
Actually,
Oh, let's Mike, you had 3 people should be looking at if they're playing fantasy football for the next week.
yes. So we have a few people on this list. I am my first guy is Damian Pierce against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah,
After
this got
the Denver
done last
Broncos
week.
got exposed by Rashad Penny that last
Right.
game.
Yeah, he Penny
I
didn't
thought-
even have a crazy game from
He
like
did,
a
but
stat
he got-
perspective.
close.
He did, yeah, he shouldn't have done
Sorry,
what he
close.
did, but
Right.
And-
Yeah,
yeah.
but I feel like that Broncos defense is gonna have trouble containing Pierce because even the Texans head coach earlier this week said that we need to get Damian Pierce the ball more. So he's gonna be a very important asset to maybe try and go get if
Mhm.
you can get him for cheap. He's not gonna be worth if we're talking about any keeper leagues here, he's not worth like a 5th, 6th. If you can get him for like a 9th and maybe like a future like 50, that's a
Mhm.
steal. That's what you want to see because I feel like Damian Pierce is a good talent out of Texas. Another guy that I think will do well is David Njoku, tight
Okay.
end,
Kevin Njoku.
of course, of the Cleveland Browns. I feel like since they're playing the Jets this week, they're playing the Jets. I feel like they're going to try to utilize Jacoby Brissett more
Mhm.
than they did last week. I feel like they're not going to be going on the ground
Especially
as much.
against the Jets defense, they have a good
Yeah.
defensive line.
I feel like this is going to be a test game because I feel like they're confident they're going to win against the Jets. They're not good.
Yeah,
This is
they're-
more of a
they're
testing
good.
game for Jacoby Brissett, which I think Jacoby does well. He did pretty well in Indianapolis like a few years ago. There's a reason the Patriots drafted him. They have that eye for talent, and yeah, I feel like Njoku's going to be one of those lead reception guys in that offense.
Mhm.
Okay.
Moving on.
I also
Um,
want to put a couple waiver wire pickups out there if they're not already picked up in your league. The first one I want to go for is Jeff Wilson on the Niners. Obviously, he's going to have the starting job this week after the injury to... Oh,
Yeah.
my God, I'm completely blanking on the name. Who's RB1 in San Fran? Why am I...
Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah,
Elijah
after,
Mitchell.
yeah, Elijah Mitchell got injured. If he's somehow still available, make sure you get your hands on him. Another person I'd look at, well, these are kind of 2 people, either Mark Ingram or Taysom Hill. I would lean towards the Taysom Hill side of that. As Taysom Hill obviously had a great week 1, and he's listed as a tight end, which is
They're gonna be utilizing
generally
this more.
very beneficial. Obviously, they changed that in the middle of was it last season or the season before when they started him
it
as
was
a
last
tight
season.
end and then they changed him to a quarterback. He outscores a lot of tight ends, but also Alvin Kamara is questionable. He's
Yeah,
dealing
so-
with an
so
injury
David
last
Williams.
weekend. We don't know if I don't know if he's confirmed to be playing Sunday.
He's not out, and he's not confirmed to be playing.
And at the very least, we can expect a similar limited role for Alvin Kamara, getting what was it, 13 touches or something
was.
like that. So I'd expect another big week out of Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
And then one last person, this guy I got a little tilted about because AGB stole him from me. AGB, would you like to tell me tell the crowd who you stole from me?
My boy James Robinson.
I understand that this man is probably the least available out of everyone we said, but I think a lot of people were being like, he's gonna, Travis Etienne Jr. He's gonna
Rip the people who
he's
who
gonna
drafted Travis
move
Etienne.
he's gonna move James Robinson to RB2. No,
James Robinson's a good talent.
He's really
There's
good. I
no-
don't think anyone expected him to come back from his ACL the way he did.
Yeah, like
And
week
I would
one.
expect, I'm honest, I'd expect James Robinson to be continuing to perform at an RB1 level, or at least RB2 for the rest of the season,
Right.
if in leagues, and especially if it's a
I think that
deeper
they could at
league.
least split snaps. I think they could at least split snaps.
Yeah.
I think a lot of their offensive.
Mhm.
Their formations could include both of them, and if they're they could be some short passes. They could just have them run off to the side, or they can just be there for extra protection. Because I mean, these are both pretty decent sized guys. I mean, James Robinson, 5'9", 220. He can definitely put that weight up against somebody, and buy Trevor Lawrence just a couple more
Reminds me
seconds.
of Leonard Fournette
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
just a little bit.
LSU.
But I think that they could. I think that they could definitely both be involved very much throughout this offseason. Not this offseason, what the whole season. I think they both could be involved. So James Robinson in that offense is a good fit, and I do agree with that. But
So I had two more players. One,
Okay.
I feel like depending on how many people are in your league, this guy may be a free agent because you may have taken a risk at getting Christian Watson or Alan Lazard this week, which I kind of got from my bench, and I didn't start him. I did not start him, but it was a failed experiment. But I did instead. I dropped Christian Watson and I picked up DJ Chark of the Detroit Lions. I really like Chark. I liked him as one wide receiver, 1 or 2 in Jacksonville, even under a bad offense. He was very good last season under that offense, which I don't know why they gave him up for Christian Kirk. It's not that much of a
yeah.
skill gap.
I still feel like Christian Kirk got overpaid, but
Oh, of course he did. I mean, that's not really a doubt. But Goff, and that team put up a lot of points last week. That Eagles defense, who had Fletcher Cox, I feel like Goff's gonna have a big week against the Commanders.
yeah, I think so, right?
I feel like Chark's a good pick to be that second wide receiver if Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't have that step up game. And then my last pick, I think he's actually a free agent in one of my other leagues that I just haven't picked up yet. It's Sterling Shepard of the Giants. I feel like he's had a lot of potential. I just feel like Daniel Jones isn't an option there, and he's been held back by Daniel Jones and Eli Manning for a season because Eli was not good in.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is not it. He's not that guy.
Jones, honestly, give him the Taysom Hill spot, wide receiver.
Oh no, and then he'd somehow trip on like the 15-yard line.
Trip on the grass.
Yeah, trip on the grass.
Man
Yeah.
is not an athlete.
But yeah, so Sterling Shepard had 71 yards receiving last week in a not good Giants offense. I feel like I'm pretty sure he's the wide receiver 1 there. No.
Kadarius Toney would like to talk to you.
No, Kadarius Toney's not going to be about. People don't like Kadarius Toney up there for some reason.
I think Kadarius.
That is true.
3. But yeah, I feel like he's going to have a very good performance this upcoming.
Let me see. Wide receiver 1 is Kenny Golladay.
That's not a good decision for how hard he works.
Then it's Wan'Dale Robertson,
have...
Sterling Shepard, and then Darius Slayton.
Actually, also one more pick, AJ Green.
Now?
AJ Green's my other pick.
Oh, on
AJ
the Eagles, there's no shot he's going to be available. Oh, wait, AJ Brown's on the Eagles.
AJ Green's a Cardinal.
Known Cincinnati legend.
Yep.
So he's going to be the second receiver, I'm assuming, behind Hollywood Brown. With DeAndre Hopkins out, he's going to have to be used a lot more by Kyler Murray. He's going to have to step up in a, kind of a lackluster Arizona offense. He's going to be playing the Raiders this week.
They look confused.
That's going to be a hard test because that D-line is going to get to Kyler fast. And if Kyler can't work with that, then AJ Green's not going to be able to perform well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna go into hot takes.
Hot take time. Let me change the topic on
take.
screen, and we'll get into it. Who wants to start?
Okay.
Name of the segment: Future Transition. Ooga Booga. Rate it or hate it.
Let's go.
Rate it or hate it. All right. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go with this one first. Who is more valuable to their team in the NFL? Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson? Go.
Justin Jefferson. Anyways,
Cooper Kupp.
Jefferson's younger. I feel like. he's a-
Oh
a
wait,
franchise
how are we
player.
determining value here?
If we're going by like talent right now,
In-game.
I mean,
Like, if we're talking financially and like for the future, Justin Jefferson.
long term.
Justin Jefferson, hands down.
But
I feel like
if we're
Jefferson
talking
is
about
there.
In-game.
success currently, it's Cooper Kupp.
But also the thing is with Cooper Kupp is he's probably gonna be doubled sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be
No,
exploited.
yeah, but that's the
That's
reason.
bad.
If Cooper Kupp gets doubled for an entire game, the Rams are gonna. Who are they gonna
Are
go
we
to?
sure about that?
Or who are they? Who are the Rams?
I
They're
think
gonna go
after
to
that
Allen
week one, I
Robertson
think
for an entire
Justin
game.
Jefferson has to be starting to look at double teams here soon as well. I mean, am I
Yeah,
wrong there?
but see, but with the Vikings, you have Dalvin Cook. You have the
Adam Thielen.
skeleton of Adam Thielen,
He's still pretty good. At
who
the
is
red
still
zone.
better than Allen Robertson, I might add.
He is. He's really good in the
You
end
don't
zone.
have
the red
that
zone
with the
stuff.
Rams. Cam Akers feeling dangerous, getting 0 yards on the ground. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
and I mean, will block for shit.
Yes. 3
Darnell
carries for
Henderson,
0,
though.
a big old goose egg.
so that's why
Darnell
I'm saying Cooper Kupp is more valuable to the Rams because their success is determined on how good that boy from Eastern Washington is.
Yeah, and that may not even go well for the next few weeks.
Yeah. So if
Matt
the
Jones,
Rams are just
yeah.
shit this season,
Which
if
I don't
no,
think
but this will be the actual answer. If the Rams don't perform to expectation this season, and Cooper Kupp still puts up numbers, I will then switch my answer here to Justin Jefferson.
See, that is my answer to this as well. I think
my
that Justin Jefferson is probably at the I don't this is also gonna be a hot take in itself. I think that Justin Jefferson individually as a player, I think he might be better than Cooper Kupp as of right now. And you also have to look at who's throwing him the football
depends
because you have Matthew Stafford and
Ooh.
Kirk Cousins.
No.
Who's throwing you the football there? But
In a way.
I have to go along and piggyback off of Atlas because you have the skeleton of Adam Thielen. You have Dalvin Cook, who is like a top 5 in some cases fantasy football, and he's one of the best running backs in the league. You
But
also have Kirk Cousins, who is versatile. He can throw the football. He's very good. And Matthew Stafford is average. I think that Kirk Cousins is better than him. I'm not going to come over here and say, like Mad Dog tried to say earlier this week on First Take, that Kirk Cousins is better than Lamar Jackson.
I didn't
don't
even
know.
hear that.
I don't know if
Irvin
anyone saw
projected-
that clip that I posted in my sports chat, but
Michael
Mad
Irvin.
Dog tried to say that Kirk Cousins was better than Lamar Jackson, and we know that is awful. That is the hottest.
Wait.
take. That's the worst take
As
I've
a
heard all
passer?
week.
No,
No, it's
definitely not.
overall.
Okay,
Overall,
overall,
he-
no. As a passer, I'll back him.
What? No shit.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
Lamar's versatile.
Lamar is a great running back. Not as good. Yeah.
He's not. As,
That might
Okay,
be it. That
the
might have to
meme's
be another
overused,
take
but
for
it is
another time.
accurate.
but back to the topic at hand.
Mhm.
I feel like Justin Jefferson has a different skill set than Cup because Cup's a slot
Right.
guy.
Yeah.
He's a good route runner, while Justin Jefferson gets downfield fast, has that deep threat,
Mhm.
possibility. Like maybe like
Once he
Mike-
gets the ball
Mike-
in his hands, he's shifty.
He
He
has
can move.
crazy yards after coverage, after catch. Same with Cooper Cup. Both of those guys can get
Mhm.
serious yak. That's why Cup's so good, even if
Right.
he's
Mhm.
one of those short passers.
Yeah, they hit you
Yeah, go up.
differently. They hit you differently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most
they do.
certainly. All right,
But I have
JB?
to say, I think that Justin Jefferson might be better, but Cooper Kupp is more valuable to that offense overall. That's what I'm gonna have to
Okay.
agree with Alex there.
All right.
Does someone else want to go with another one?
Alice, you got one?
I got one. It's college football.
All right.
USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten was bad for their programs.
I think that's bad
So-
for UCLA's program.
So the tea about this, AGB, if you're not fully up to date, is that not next season, but the season after, both USC and
yeah.
UCLA are moving to the Big Ten. Obviously, the conference with Ohio State, yada yada yada.
Yeah. There's some good teams in this conference.
Now,
There are.
the reason here's my reasoning about why I think it's bad for their programs. Obviously, monetarily, I think they'll get more money out of the TV deal. I think that's we don't even need to discuss that. NIL reasons, probably they get a boost there. The reason I think it's bad is because I think there's something to be said for the regionality of conferences within college football. You can't go and tell me that like USC and UCLA that the only rivalry game that they'll have their entire season is against one another in conference. In the
Right.
Pac-12, USC had the Cal game, the Stanford game. You could make that rivalry a little bit.
Right.
You could make the Oregon game a rivalry if you wanted to.
No, or Oregon US.
And then you also have the opportunity for fans to travel to different Pac-12 opponents
Yeah, I think
and
I
make
would
that
do
a lot
that.
you could drive down I-10 to
You can
go
say the
to
same about the
Tempe,
Big Ten,
Arizona to watch them play Arizona or whoever it may be.
I want to do that, bro.
I mean, that's just an example.
Dude,
You're not going to tell me that USC fans are going to fly halfway across the country to go see them play Purdue away.
I mean, I guess the Broncos fans
That's fair.
to go see
Like
the Seahawks play.
I think it's going to be bad from all their away games being over 2,000 miles away. I think that'll have a negative impact on the
I can
performance
agree
on
to
the
that.
team. And imagine week after week, you're playing one game in LA, you're playing the next game in East Lansing, Michigan, and then you
Right.
go to Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know.
So-
Right. It feels weird. It doesn't
I'll,
feel right.
I'll give my take from USC fans' perspective. I think this is going to hurt UCLA more than it does USC.
Mhm.
Because I feel like by the time USC moves to the Big Ten, they'll actually have regained that preference, like that prestige they had in the early 2000s with the 04, 05.
With Pete Carroll, yeah.
Yeah. I think UCLA will not be ready. They already don't have that good of a football program, or as it is.
Mhm.
I don't think the transition is going to help them at all with the better opponents, I guess you could say, in the Big Ten. More better, overall grade than Pac-12.
I think the answer has to be I think the question has to be asked: what conference do we think is better at football? Do we think the Pac-12?
The
is
Big
better?
Ten, I think.
Oh no, Big Ten. If we're averaging it out, yeah.
Yeah.
Big Ten.
Okay.
Pac-12 has
so
some weak guys.
For
in there.
me, with him having a better competition, with him having harder teams to face, do we think that will hurt, or do we think that will benefit the franchise? Because that could hurt them in a sense of nobody wants to go over there because they're going to get smacked every time, and then they're not going to get any looks by the NFL because they're just known as the squad that gets wiped every
I
year.
think.
Or
I
they
think
could go over there and they could evolve as a program, and they could get a lot better because they are evolving in order to stand up to those teams and not get walked all over them. That's
well,
kind of what I think it would come down to for me.
our head coach and our quarterback, Caleb Williams Riley, if Caleb Williams is somehow still playing by 24.
Well, isn't Caleb redshirt sophomore?
I think he was. He may be a year
So
five
he'll
player.
still
So,
be
yeah.
around for at least the
Yeah,
first season.
Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams have that out of Pac-12 experience already.
Mhm.
So they're going to be able to help lead that team. Well, assuming Lincoln Riley doesn't rat out again, they're going to help that team grow as a program in a much tougher conference, in my opinion. Yeah, and UCLA just doesn't have that as a program, because I feel like they're more invested in their basketball program than football. Same with their baseball
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
program.
I
which
mean,
they
I think
fall in
it should be
into.
noted for the people watching. We're approaching this from a football perspective because I think that's where most of us focus our college athletic
Yeah,
viewing
Of course.
experience.
even though I do watch USC basketball.
Same. I go to Oregon games, but yeah, I
Mhm.
agree with the take about UCLA. I think they're gonna have really hard growing pains going into the Big Ten.
Yeah.
For a while, they're gonna be at the maybe not as bad as Rutgers level, but if like Maryland, Nebraska, where it currently sits, like that kind of range. I mean, take it from an Oregon fan. I think Chip Kelly's washed at this point. And then
Yeah.
USC, I think they're going to operate in and around like the Minnesota, Wisconsin level initially.
If USC can improve their defense, which is a big question mark for them
Yeah.
these last few games, they let up way too many yards to Stanford.
Yeah.
They did not look good from like I literally was watching the game like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
They were letting way too many yards up to a Stanford offense that's not that good.
Yeah. And admittedly, I don't know the specifics about how because I know the Big Ten's going to change their division concept because of the introduction of UCLA to USC, but I believe they're keeping like Western Eastern kind of. Getting into the
No.
Westerns, are they? I think isn't it Western and
It'll be
Like
Western
North?
Eastern, but I
Yeah.
think what are they gonna go like?
Oh, I don't
West-
think it's going to be it's going to be how it always been where it's the two best teams. But
Yeah,
if there was considering you have to play everyone on your side and then
Yeah.
those spared games from the other side, they're going in on the easier side of the Big Ten. Where the best
Right.
side and the best team in the West is either Iowa or Wisconsin, and you don't really have to play the Ohio States, the Michigan States, the Penn States every season.
Those
As
are-
much
those are
as
the
I
tough
think they're
matchups.
probably going to schedule a USC Ohio State game,
Dude, those games are gonna be good.
yeah, and I also admit that home field advantage for USC is going to be a lot stronger than it is in the
It's gonna be-
Pac-12 because
Yeah,
Right.
that the trip, it goes both ways. They're going to have harder road games and easier home games, in my opinion.
yeah.
Doesn't
the
apply to
big-
UCLA because the Rose Bowl's dead if it's not the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Did you see
Yeah.
their attendance numbers on week one?
It's
Just
like
because of how
it's
funny-
ridiculous. It's bad. Yeah.
The Rose Bowl needs to implement like changes to their fucking stadium.
UCLA just needs to get better at football. If
And,
they're
and,
like,
and,
yeah.
and then you have such an atmosphere of the Coliseum for USC,
Right.
that which was the Rams' home until SoFi was
Yeah.
built. Which, man, that helps them in 2019 because the Rams fans actually showed up
yeah.
because the visa
Right.
tickets were not that.
Yeah, but another thing I want to focus on as well is is the Pac-12 just going to go back to the Pac-10, or are they going to add 2 new teams? And second, what does it mean for the
Notre
the
Dame.
notoriety of the Pac-12 going forward?
It's gonna hurt them losing
Because
a
okay, I mean, obviously, if we take in recency bias, USC and UCLA have been non-factors in the Pac-12 for about the past
But
6,
it's
7
gonna-
years.
It's
But
gonna hurt them.
I'd argue that it makes the best team, quote unquote, best team out of the Pac-12. It allows them to have an easier chance to get to the college football playoff.
Yes, agreed. Because USC's like a
Because
tougher team in
who the
in
heck is
in
a
the
Utah going to
district.
play in the South anymore? Not to mention like,
Yeah, it's a sweep. Sweep
Yeah.
for them.
oh yeah, and actually, I'm just curious. If the Pac-12 added 2 teams, what 2 teams would you want them to add?
Fresno. What Fresno's on the pack, right?
Fresno's in the Mountain West.
So yeah, they get added, I think,
hmm
which I think is fair. What they go in the South, and then, man, let me look.
If we're talking the biggest teams possible, I want BYU, and
BYU.
I would either go for Fresno or I'd go for Boise State.
I think give me Fresno, and let me look. Yeah, BYU is probably that second option. BYU and
Bruh, can you imagine conference games between BYU and Utah?
those would be like a
Those would be
dream for me.
I think
hard.
BYU would be a good squad to add in.
I think
and
BYU's a
then
must if you want to keep the Pac-12 relevant.
Yeah, it's
And
that
then-
that is
The second team to keep it the Pac-12, I don't know. It could be anyone from San Diego State. They're an underrated team. There's no shot Pac-12 is going to want to add Hawaii.
as much as that would be so funny.
As much as that'd be funny, them being in the Mountain West is already absurd.
Yeah, the fact that they are in the Mountain West.
But I don't know. There's not a lot of options realistically. You're going to be picking from the Mountain West. It's going to be Fresno State. It's going to be Boise State. You can maybe chuck in Colorado State if you wanted to, because you already have the Colorado team, and you know how they like to have pairs. And then you could maybe go. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing.
What?
Like,
What?
Right.
who would even be next? Like who? Like New
Marshall?
Mexico?
Marshall?
Marshall? Get the
From-
yeah, Huntington, West Virginia in the Pac-12. Yeah,
Yeah.
We're-
yeah.
Oh no.
I mean,
Wyoming?
we're-
Like who
we already
are
got
you gonna
you.
add?
we already got USC in the Big Ten, so I mean, no one
No,
would be the farthest at this point.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna add freaking Northern
Alright.
Illinois into the Pac-12.
Alabama to the
Well,
Pac-12.
there's Mike's hot take.
There's my
No,
yeah.
There's
that
Mike's
was
hot
my hot take.
Okay,
So-
but yeah.
Speaking of Mike's
So it
hot
sounds
take,
like we agree that in some instances and UCLA moving to the Big Ten's like an
there's
aggregate
pros and
bad,
cons, but I think the cons
but there's
outweigh.
goods.
Well, there's goods for USC, but I don't think.
No, not as much for UCLA. Okay.
Definitely not.
Sounds like to
Okay.
me that there's more cons than pros.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so I've got one. AGB's done one. Mike, you're next.
So I wrote this at the start of the season a while ago, just to
Mhm.
have it down. I had USC finishing top 5 in college football.
USC finishing top 5.
Yes,
I'm gonna rate this a hard hate it.
because you're an Oregon
Hard
fan.
hate it.
No,
Because USC is not that. They're
I'm still not. I'm not convinced.
I'm not
It's
super-
a year one of a program. That's just my deference to a year one program.
Again, I
I'm
wrote,
If
I
they-
wrote,
if
I'm
they-
not a huge college
they'd have to
football
beat
guy, but
Utah
I know
twice.
that-
That's what I'm thinking because
once during the season and
in one
once
Pac-12
during
because
Pac-12 time.
I don't know if it's this okay, I must admit I don't know if it's this season or next season, but Pac-12 is moving to the 2 best teams as well. So
yeah,
in
I
the
think
championship.
I think it's this year. I'm not sure.
I want to say it's this
I
year too,
don't-
and that's why I say beating Utah twice.
So yeah,
Yeah, beating
I-
Utah twice could.
I
get
think
them-
Utah
could get
got
them in the top
clowned on a
25.
little bit too hard for losing to Florida in the swamp. That is a very good, hard place
Yeah,
to go
that was a
play,
tough-
and they made it a good game.
Right,
Uh,
and that was game 1 too.
yeah. So yeah, I think beating Utah twice is hard. Not to mention the Pac-12 loves eating itself alive. If
True.
they're a one-loss team, and let's say they lose regular season to Utah, beat Utah in the Pac-12 championship, I'll give you top 5. I don't know about playoff, but I'll give you top 5 because I'm not convinced about the
yeah,
other
yeah.
conferences.
playoffs close. So if you beat Utah both times and
If you beat Utah both times,
probably number 14 at that point, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they could be top
oh
10 if
my
they beat
god,
both
if
Utah both
USC goes
times.
undefeated, they're going in.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, but like, you know,
Th-
I
th-
think
th-
it's
that
going to
would
be. People are going to clown on USC if they're undefeated. It's going to be like the Cincinnati situation because I think people's opinion of the Pac-12 has just plummeted, and I don't even. I kind of understand why, but I also at the same time I don't understand why because
I mean,
you
one
have
of the
games.
best quarterbacks in the NFL is literally an Oregon alumni.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
They're
Um,
so good.
so I, from a realism point of view, I don't think USC makes it top 5. But
don't either,
I
but
won't
it
say
could-
it's
it
impossible. So
theoretic-
like if we had to rate it out of 10,
I
10
mean,
being the most hate it, or like the most like I think it's unlikely. I think it's like a 7, 8.
I mean, Atlas. If you think
I give
Oregon,
it an 8.
then USC can probably.
Oh, I
get it.
don't think Oregon's going to be going to make the college football playoff. That's
Make
just a
it.
copium
Make
fan
it.
in me. I think
Make
we're
it.
going to make like I don't know the Rose Bowl, it's the Pac-12 championship if it's not in champion if it's not in rotation. I don't.
If it's best 2 teams, it's probably going to be what USC, Utah.
Yeah, but
If-
I don't
if
know.
we're going
I
with
just I feel like people are putting a lot of pressure on USC for a first year coach.
Yeah, that defense is definitely gonna have to figure itself out this
Mhm.
season, or they're not gonna perform
Yeah.
well.
Okay,
All right, HB. right on to
HB,
you.
back to you, my man.
All right, I got one that I want to just breeze through real fast, like maybe 2 minutes, and
Mhm.
then I have another one real fast.
Got it.
All right,
Be around.
are the Cowboys done? Are they done for the whole season?
No.
You my.
Do we think that they can get into the wild card and maybe make somewhat of a run later on?
If
They
they can
wouldn't
get-
they wouldn't be getting into the playoffs as a wild card if they got in. They'd be getting in by winning the NFC East.
If they beat the Bengals this week with Cooper Rush as quarterback, then
I
yeah.
don't know if I have faith in
I mean,
Cooper Rush, but
I don't either. But if they do beat the Bengals, then yeah.
that defense is still. I don't want to say elite. They're a top 10 defense.
I think Cowboys leave that D line just way too good to not call them leave.
That D line is good. They have Micah Parsons coming off the edge.
What
They have
it's like the equivalent of like Steelers.
right.
You have the vet,
And then they have my thing is like Trayvon Diggs. If he wasn't so hit or miss, I would easily call it elite. But you like I think Atlas said it not too long ago in a stream recently. He'll either give you like 1 or 2 interceptions or 150 yards for whatever receiver he's guarding. Trayvon Diggs is just too hit or miss for me to call it elite defense, but I think they're good.
I think
it's just because of how Trayvon Diggs plays, and I can't hate him for it. He plays inside instead of
right.
Yeah.
But I also have to say this just real fast. The media gives so much attention to the Cowboys because they're America's football team or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're done. I think they can make a run later on in the season. I think that this defense will win them games that they probably should lose due to their offense probably going forward being lackluster for at least the next 4 games. Also, I think that they're going to rush Dak, and I don't know how consistent he's going to be when he comes back. So I think that this defense has a lot of weight on their shoulders. I don't think that they're done. I think people are just like clowning on the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
But I also at the same time I don't want to say that they're done, but I feel like they are. But
I don't.
I'm in the middle on that one.
But the thing is that later in the season they are also arguing Michael Gallup back from injury that he had during the late last season. That's going to be a big add. That wide receiver core against Tampa Bay did not look good against the not so hot secondary.
Right.
But even though Antoine Winfield's probably one of the best.
Right. But then you lose a guy like Amari Cooper, and that hurts.
Yeah. The fact that the Eagles got more for Jalen Reagor than Amari Cooper got
that's wild.
Traded for.
That's a Cowboys move right there. I know I just said that people love clowning on the Cowboys, but that's a Cowboys move right there. If we've ever heard of it. All right. Okay. My other one that I want to keep on the NFL spectrum because my last one is NBA. Surprisingly or not, because it's regarding an off-season move.
Well, we already.
Who is your current NFL MVP, and is that also your final MVP candidate? Is that like
current MVP?
Say for current MVP just through week 1, who was week 1's MVP?
Geno
or
Smith.
You could even say
sorry, no.
Geno Smith.
Or you could even say. Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, since they both had 2 games. You can say one of those 2 guys because those are very respectable takes. Though those are both great quarterbacks. But who is your current MVP, and are they also your final MVP for the end of the year? Is that who you predict would be it?
Snap.
Hey, MVP of the 3rd string, bro.
Okay.
It happened.
Wow. I'm gonna say Justin Herbert probably for MVP right now. I also want to say if Justin Jefferson keeps up the rate he's been going,
no,
he's moving. I know how hard it is for a wide receiver to get MVP.
This may be one of the rare years that will, like a skill position player could win MVP. So since Justin on his game, that's kind of obvious at this point. Rodgers not there.
Yeah, as much as I think, like, whoever I think it is right now, Justin Jefferson, Justin Herbert, I don't think either of those guys are probably going to be who I think at the end of the season should deserve it. I don't know. It's just, like, such a short sample size.
Again, Josh Allen at 2020 when finished 2nd, he has the talent in the regular season. He just didn't unleash it too much last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he showed up in the playoffs so much. He looked crazy in those playoffs. He looked like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes combined.
Right.
Yeah.
Only if he didn't get screwed over by those overtime rules.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He probably would have been Bengals for being fair.
That's what I have to say. I have to say that I think with the success that I think the Bills are going to have this season, I think that I have to say that Josh Allen is my final MVP.
Yeah, I was thinking
with
that
the success, the best team in the league with one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the best quarterbacks in the league with what's probably going to be the best team in the league by the end of the year. I think that has to win. But for me right now, those two quarterbacks that both played last night, it has to be between one of those two. Looking in game one,
I can't get behind Mahomes unless
see,
he like completely turns.
I feel
it
like that's
on.
different. I feel like that's different because we don't always talk most valuable and best player. I feel like now this is also a hot take.
No,
I
see
feel
what's-
like
yeah.
I feel like it's kind of different because I can sit here and tell you that I think hell I can even say this. Patrick Mahomes is probably the better player than Joe Burrow, but I would say that Joe Burrow is more valuable to his offense than than he is because
that's
like without that
Yeah.
what is the
And I mean, in an ideal
But-
world, that is what it would be, but that's not how MVP voting works.
That's not how it works. But so right now, going 2-0 and beating Justin Herbert, even though he had a stellar night, and he was at home in Arrowhead.
Mhm.
But let's look at it like this: he is currently at about 500 yards passing. He has 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's not
Well,
giving up the
I
ball.
mean-
But his
but,
QBR
I
for both
value
games was
that.
under 70.
This is true.
and,
I
and,
value
you know,
that a
well,
lot. So it's
it could have
gotta
been
be
worse
one.
than
It's
70
gotta
as
be either
well.
him or
Yeah.
Justin Herbert.
And I would argue, I don't know, as much as
Well, no.
Mahomes kind of won the game for the Chiefs yesterday,
Right.
he
Some
hasn't
throws-
really been the main reason they've been performing so well.
Some throws by
Right.
Mahomes last night looked ugly.
Yeah.
They look
Questionable for
awful.
sure.
I was like looking at that, I'm
questionable.
like, I've never seen Mahomes airmail
On
passes like
on
this.
that
Right.
illegal contact play, that was maybe the worst throw I've seen from a Chiefs quarterback since like Alex.
I don't know. There must have been miscommunication because there was no
Yeah.
shot that like I expect
Right.
better of Mahomes. That pass was like
Right.
if he was supposed to like continue on an out route and he just continued on a crossing pattern. Like I don't know.
But that comes back to what I was going to
Mhm.
say. He's proving right now that he did not need Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill needed him. Did
Oh,
you
no,
see-
no.
Well, okay, I
They-
wouldn't go
They both
that
did
far.
not need each other. They did not both need each other. They're both good players by themselves.
Mhm.
I can give you
Tyreek
that,
just
but
carried
Tyreek
Tua.
Hill-
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I am so flabbergasted that the Dolphins picked Tua over Herbert. Like
Oh yeah, that's dumb.
I thought that the night of, and I know that's my Oregon bias, but like, you picked a guy with injury. What did he have back then? It was a dislocated hip or something like that. You pick that over Herbert, like, I don't.
Who was
get
just
it,
raring
man.
to go at that point.
But
Yeah.
But
man,
I don't know. I think that
Tyreek
he's
was-
showing that he's valuable because he is that offense, and
Yeah.
pieces can rotate around him, but he can still make that offense move. I think that's important. So probably as of right now, I guess it would have to be him because, but Justin Herbert. I can also say this about Justin Herbert. Without his number one receiver, he almost took down what has
Bro.
been the team to beat in the AFC last
And-
night. He did
and-
that without Keenan Allen. He almost did that. And he
Yeah.
had an amazing performance. He made Mike Williams look like
Well,
Yeah.
because Mike Williams is him.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mike Williams
Mike
is
Williams
that guy.
is good.
That
He is
that
good.
moss on that pass interference play.
Oh, that
that
was
was crazy.
That's
was
it was
Yeah,
just
He carries both my
disrespectful.
fantasy teams. No, Alex played me the week that Mike Williams went off.
Yeah,
Against
you know,
Herbert
the
as a
minute
quarterback.
I saw Keenan Allen was not playing this week, I'm like, I'm so effed. Because
Fuck.
when Allen was out last season, Mike Will was like popping
It's
off.
over.
Yeah, Mike Will was
Right.
dropping 35. I know because I had Mike Will on my team, so, like last season. So I was like,
There you
I
go.
just knew it was like, oh, it's already ropes. Especially
over,
yeah.
if Derrick Henry and like, oh, this is going into fantasy. Especially if
And
Derrick
it's-
Henry and Alvin Kamara have bad weeks.
And I have
Mike is
Jonathan
going to be
Taylor.
smoking an Atlas pack this week. That's all I'm saying.
I saw the Taylor, bro. I
Yeah, you
mean,
have Jonathan Taylor, but
yeah, you're kind of cooked.
I should eat.
Not gonna lie.
Okay.
All right, so there's that. So as of right now, for me, I guess I would say Patrick Mahomes is my current. I think that Josh Allen will be the final. Atlas.
Well, we already went over my Chargers one during the podcast, which apparently isn't that hot of a take. So I've got
Yeah,
one more for
no.
you guys, and this one's actually baseball.
Oh, okay. I'm interested now.
You're
now.
interested now?
What Mariners?
It
eliminate
is
the playoff
Mariners
now?
related.
No shit.
What do you mean no shit?
Yeah.
I'm a Rays fan, but Mariners are closer, and
Rays fan.
I still rate the Mariners. I think the Mariners make the AL Finals,
You mean ALCS? I mean,
ALCS
series?
Championship Series. Yeah.
Depends on who they play during their matchups because
But
um,
I it's just it's the energy about the team, and I'm not the most well informed about baseball, and I know it's kind of weird me giving a baseball hot take, but if Julio Rodriguez continues performing the way he has, and their bullpen continues performing the way it has,
man, without Paul Sewald, not Paul Sewald. Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? He was so good last year. He had like he's like a .59 ERA. It was crazy.
yeah, I think the Mariners are like a very much a bang bust team, and I'm just kind of putting the hot take on the bang part of them because they're young.
Yeah.
They got it's just they don't have experience, but they can get hot. They can
The
get
thing
really
about
hot.
Mhm.
but the thing about the American League is that is a much weaker division this year. The only teams I can see being a threat to them is that the Houston Astros
Yeah,
and the New York Yankees.
Right.
yeah,
Both of those teams are stupid crazy, even though I fucking hate the Houston Astros.
yeah. I
was about to
despise
wait,
the
ACL tears
Astros.
soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know much about baseball, but just by looking at standings here, I don't think that's too hot of a take. I think I
well,
think that could be normal.
the so the
but
I think they would have to be one of those teams to get to the ALCS.
Right.
They're
Hypothetically, right?
hypothetically.
So
they'll be close if they don't make it.
It just depends on that wild
Mhm.
card round because it's a
Yeah.
3-game series now.
yeah, and I obviously I rate the Rays. I'm a fan of them, but I think the Mariners beat they beat Cleveland if they play them. They beat
Yeah.
the Blue Jays
Yeah.
if they play them. I think they give
No.
I think they
Jays.
give the Yankees a heck of a series if they play them.
Pick your next.
Like I think
words
that's a Game
wisely.
7 kind of dealio.
Yankees choke it in Game 7.
Yeah, that's a one of those like prime October games right there. Mariners Yankees.
Man.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I just thought it was the reason I think it's even more of a hot take just because this would be the first time the Mariners are making the playoffs
In 20 years, like 20,
Right.
22 years.
yeah. And
Their
imagine they get there
playoff-
with that.
Their playoff list straight can drink legally.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, bro. It's almost about to go clubbing, bro.
all right. I
Okay.
got my next hot take ready here.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Julio Jones will have a 1,200 yard season this year.
Julio Jones has a 1,200 yard season.
With Godwin being so uncertain, I think he's the number 2 receiver. And Tom
I
Brady
like it.
loves his second receivers.
I
He
like
loves
it.
his second receivers. And I think Julio
I just
in that
don't
Cowboys
know.
game looked great.
If Julio
was
can
running
stay
what's up.
healthy,
Great.
I rate it. I rate that pick.
Honestly,
And-
I can. Thinking about it, I'm kind of skeptical, but at the same time, I think that Tom Brady will have a good year. I think that he will. He has those 3 guys. He has that Mike Evans. He has that Chris Godwin. He has, those guys. Like I would put them
Mhm.
ahead of him right now because Julio.
Oh,
Jones is
yeah.
not who he once
Well,
was,
I
but he's
think-
still Julio Jones.
I think Julio
But-
Jones is underrated now because he went to Tennessee and he was injured for most of the year in a
Right.
rush-heavy offense.
With a
Right.
Ryan
Very
Tannehill.
rush.
Okay, Ryan Tannehill gets
I'm
clowned on
joking.
too freaking
I'm
hard. I swear to God.
Okay, but
I'm
listen,
joking.
you
I'm
can't say that Ryan Tannehill is Tom Brady. Don't do that.
I mean, come on.
But I think that each one of them can have a very good year, solid.
No.
I could rate that.
It is very possible that all 3 of those receivers at Tampa Bay can have 1,000 yards.
That's what I was gonna. That's
Very
what I was thinking
Yeah.
because I think that they could all do it. I think
Now,
they could all do
Tom
it.
Brady does have to look better than he looked against the Cowboys,
But it's week
Yes.
1. It's week
but
1.
it's week 1. Yeah.
He didn't have practice camp as well. The
Mhm.
fact that he
He was
even
also
won that
gone
game,
for half
the
of
fact
it
that he
because
was
he was dealing
slinging
with his
60
wife.
yards to Julio Jones on that play in
Yeah.
a perfect slot is crazy for a guy who didn't practice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna rate the pick, especially with Chris Godwin. Maybe I don't know.
not this week.
If Chris Godwin
Being
plays
iffy.
minus 3/4 of the games this year, Julio Jones got it.
Yeah,
Right.
And
feel like-
and I would put my money on Chris Godwin not playing that many games.
yeah, I hope he does because man, Godwin's a special talent.
Yeah.
All right, HB, do you have another one?
All right, my NBA take.
Your NBA take.
Which move was bigger by the Jazz this offseason? The Rudy Gobert deal or the Donovan Mitchell deal, and who is going to perform better on their new team?
Perform better, Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, it's Mitchell because I don't
He is
think
the better
that
performer. That
but-
is my answer. But the impact on the squad, which is going to be more significant.
the problem with the Timberwolves is that it's a weird situation. You have Cat probably gonna
Right.
play the power forward, but he cannot guard power forwards.
No,
It's a weird
because, I mean,
situation.
there are
Like
some guys.
you can put
Yeah, like,
Rudy
what are
at
you
the
supposed
power.
to do?
Do
Like,
you
you
have
put Rudy in the
Cat
power
on,
forward, that's- you're
like
screwed.
Giannis, for instance? If you somehow make it to the finals as a
see,
Timberwolves
that's
team,
not even my worry about Cat, because Cat was gonna be guarding Giannis either way, even if he was playing center, and even then he's not gonna be great against Giannis. My worry is when he has to guard people like KD playing the power forward,
That's the
Yeah,
because Cat
what do you
playing
do?
perimeter. Look, he's a fine defender. He's not a perimeter defender. I think
Right,
no one is
right.
under any
you
illusion
can't
that
put
he is.
and you can't put somebody like Anthony Edwards against him either because that height difference is way too significant.
yeah,
Even
so,
if he gets
like,
up next to him, it's
Against
not gonna do
Anthony
anything.
Davis, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Even if Anthony Davis is more of a perimeter player, I'm just
Right.
worried about the people that maybe aren't as tall as Cat, but who can stretch
Like-
the
like-
floor. Like even
Right,
even like Porzingis, bro. Like
right. That's gonna be tough.
like if Porzingis is not gonna light anyone up anymore.
yeah, well,
He's-
yeah.
but,
ever since
like-
he
He's
did-
he's growing to be more of a catch and shoot
Mhm.
guy. You know,
But I will say, I also think Donovan Mitchell's gonna have more of an impact just because of how stacked the West is comparatively to
no.
the East now.
and
As
I do have
well-
to say, with the fit in Minnesota is odd because they already have
Mhm.
Cat. And,
undersized guard.
there's no
by the
other
way.
position that Rudy Gobert can fill. But I think this fit for the Cavs is beautiful. You have
No.
Darius Garland moving the ball around, and then Donovan's going to be your main scorer now. There's no questions asked. Then you have guys like Jared Allen, like Evan Mobley. You have other guys. The Isaac Okoro is still there, isn't he? I think he is. But I
Yes.
mean, that'll probably be it'll either be
My-
Isaac
my-
Okoro or Chetty Osman as their three. There's kind of guys that'll kind of defend and shoot the three ball. Just stuff like that. That fit is like a glove, like the
My-
OJ
my-
Simpson glove right there. Like that is
Wait,
beautiful.
but the glove didn't fit him though.
Oh,
My
this is true. But okay, listen, that's Rudy then. That's Rudy then. That's Rudy.
my
That's
only
what-
my
But
only fear
anyways,
with that's
I think
just a
that
small
fit
growth.
just is way better. I think that they impact either way. I was gonna try and bait you guys on that. Like, okay, so we know that Donovan's gonna perform better statistically, but what's the impact? I wanted to try and bait you guys on that, and I was gonna switch back to Donovan because I just think that trade is so much better.
Can
for
we
them.
talk about how good of a defensive team the Cavs are going to be?
They
Like
are.
not even that Donovan Mitchell's
Insane.
a crazy
God,
defender.
Evan
He is going to be
Mobley.
like the offense guy, but Jared Allen, then Mobley, then Levert, and then you have like
Garland's a good
Garland.
perimeter.
Like, oh,
My-
it's just
my only
disgusting what you're going to do to teams.
My only
Right.
concern with that Cavs team is that's a really undersized guard
Oh,
lineup. 6'1",
it is 100% undersized, but
6'1",
Right.
both sides. But Mitchell, of course, has the vertical. We've
But
seen
then
that
you have
before.
2
He's gonna
7-footers.
dunk on.
well, I mean Jared Allen's like 6'10", right? And then Mobley's just Mobley's practically a 7-footer. But
Mobley's 6'11".
yeah, but I'm trying to think who small forward is going to be Levert, right? Even
Yeah.
even
gonna
if
be
that's a
Karis
little bit
LeVert.
undersized. I mean, because you're
Right.
not going to be
He's
playing
like 6'5"-ish.
what? You're not going to be playing Dean Wade there.
No
Right,
shit.
no. I mean, you have guys like Chetty Osman, and you have Isaac Okoro, who is a good 3-and-D player. I think that fits well into that.
Hmm.
But I think you have Karis LeVert, you have to have those guys coming off the bench. Or you can
Yeah.
have Karis LeVert coming off and kind of being like a stronger part on the second unit.
Hmm.
I can
Yeah.
see that. But, I mean, that's going to be – I really feel like that can be like a game-to-game type deal.
Yeah.
They could kind
What
of
I
change
will
that
say
up.
though
But
is
everywhere else is
if the
solidified.
T-Wolves and the Cavs ever play one another, I'm going to say the T-Wolves win that 9 times out of 10.
Really?
Because
Jared Allen and Rudy
Who-
Gobert, in a sense, are the same.
who the heck
In a
is
sense.
going to be guarding Cat.
Evan Mobley.
I just don't think Mobley wins that, even if how good Mobley's obviously a
Evan
great
Mobley
defender.
wins that. That I don't. I mean, I don't know if he wins that, but he's going to defend that, and he's at least going to slow him down.
Yeah. I don't
But
know.
the person to watch in that lineup then would be Anthony Edwards. He takes over Anthony Edwards. I mean, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
I don't know. It's yeah.
All right, Alice.
I
Okay,
see
Atlas
my
is
third
fine.
take got stolen, so I need to come up with one quickly.
What
What
was
wasn't
your
stolen?
take?
It was the one that wasn't that hot of a take earlier.
Oh, fair.
Um,
So let's go over to Mike then, and then we can come back to you. Is that all right?
Okay, that is
Uh,
more than fine.
Yeah, so I actually had another baseball hot take.
Okay.
I think the Texas Rangers make the playoffs this year. They spent $500 million this offseason. $500 million.
That's
If-
that's in a league with broken financial system. I have to
If
say that.
well, no shit. I know the MLB's financial system is broken, but the same thing with the NFL and the NBA. They're not that good either. That's why you have teams like the Rams manipulating the cap system so much. But I think
Yeah.
if the Rangers put their money in the right spots, which I mean they hadn't really done after 2017. I think if they put their money where it is, I think they could compete for a World Series. Even though I hate to say
World
that.
Series.
Yes. Corey Seager, one of my favorite shortstops, because I saw him play in Los Angeles for the Dodgers. Man, he was good.
I just don't know, man. I mean, I don't know much about baseball. I'll give you that. But if I'm looking over here at the standings and I see that the Texas Rangers are 63-81, and you're trying to say they're going to make it to the
Well,
finals,
that's because they just didn't spend money on pitching this year. They didn't. Their best pitcher was signed for $14 million for 2 years. Actually no, it was $8 million for 2 years. And he's only pitched 50 here. 50 innings for $8 million.
Is that pitching problem fixed?
Not yet. If they can spend in the offseason on a pretty loaded pitching free agent class, I think.
If that's fixed, then maybe, but I just don't see it.
All right, Atlas.
I got one. It's gonna be a
Back to you
basketball
with the
one,
top 3 news.
and I'm gonna make it like kind of an all-time one, not about like current events. I guess it's kind of current
Okay.
because it involves a active player.
LeBron.
He
It
about to
is.
ask-
It does involve LeBron.
He's about
And
to ask, "What do you think? Who do you think the NBA GOAT is?" Bro?
No, I'm
He's gonna
not.
Say MJ.
This is my hot take.
GOAT!
LeBron James
I
does
love
not
it.
make the Mount Rushmore of all-time NBA players.
Thank you. Anyways,
LeBron doesn't make the Mount Rushmore.
So top
No.
4.
I don't think
The top 4.
I don't think he's affected the game as I don't think he's changed the game enough
Bro, he's just
like,
a kid from Akron, bro.
as a talent. He's top 3, of course.
Yeah.
But as a player who changed the game, I don't think he's up there.
So
Well, you have Jordan, right?
yeah. So
you have-
yeah.
Steph, right? He has to be up there.
Those are the 2 locks.
Steph definitely has changed the game a lot.
Yeah.
You cannot
But
deny that.
the
You
thing,
can't say that.
if you chiseled a 5th person on a Mount Rushmore, I'd put Steph there before I put LeBron there.
Well, Allen Iverson.
I just hesitate from putting more recent players on there,
I
but
can see
Allen
I
Allen
agree
Iverson.
with
I
it.
think
I
think
don't.
Allen Iverson's impact is severely underrated and understated.
Yeah, I feel like
history
the
because-
culture that we have today in the NBA is really impacted by Allen Iverson.
Okay, so are we doing a Rushmore on impact or like how they're perceptually viewed as like
impact
all
on the
time?
game? Impact on
Okay.
the game.
I thought it was impact. So if I'm saying
Okay.
impact,
Again, by talent, it's LeBron's in the top 3.
Yeah.
I gotta say MJ, Steph, Iverson, and I don't want to say Kobe because I mean he's basically, as much as I hate to say it, he's basically 2.0 Jordan. Slightly different.
Shaq.
So yeah, I kind of looked at this different. I guess a little bit different from you guys because like in my mind it's like MJ, Kobe, Kareem, Magic, or
Right. I was thinking either Magic or like Bill Russell because Bill Russell literally.
Bill
was,
Russell's
like,
a baller. Like Wilt the
Bill
Stilt,
Russell
he's a
was-
baller. I mean, but yeah,
He-
but if we're starting to talk about like how they impacted the game, like having the greatest difference on like how the game's played, yeah, you definitely have to
Magic,
throw Steph. You have to
that
throw
ball
AI.
movement.
Like, I don't know. I definitely think LeBron's top 10 all time, and if he somehow wins another ring, we can start talking about him maybe moving up. And
I'm
if
sorry,
people
but
value longevity, I think no one touches LeBron.
Right.
But
Carmelo Anthony.
okay, at LeBron's level, we're not okay. Melo, as much as I think he was unfairly moved out of like a top like a eight in a like an 8-person rotation, I have no idea how he didn't make that in Houston.
It's weird.
It's
They
I
weird
don't
with
know what
that.
was happening in Houston during then.
Like,
When they
it's
told him he
kinda
couldn't make an
different.
11-man roster, huh? That's on
No,
some
he
could've.
shit.
He could have.
Yeah,
No one wanted him for some reason.
and then he went to
You know,
Portland and he balled out, and then he went
Yeah.
to LA and you guys gave him a
yeah,
bag for
he
some
also
reason.
balled out.
Yeah,
He was crazy as like our 7th or 6th.
yeah.
Like,
right. It's
15
nuts.
points a game.
The league has kind of done him dirty in a sense.
it's
But
wild.
I had to say that about LeBron as well. I mean,
Hmm.
honestly, and like he's different. Like it's the same. I feel like it's almost the same as like how MJ and Kobe is. Like it's the same but different. I feel like LeBron is the same but different than Magic. If I'm being real, they're similar in their
LeBron's-
play style.
LeBron. The problem with LeBron for me as like
He's
a
more of an
standpoint,
athletic freak, I would say.
which has been done before LeBron. That's why I'm not saying he has made that much of an impact on the league. Maybe in Cleveland, there's been a lot more basketball activity because of
And like
But,
this modern, and like in this era with all the kids like looking up to players, he's probably
Yeah.
the most looked up to player in this generation.
it's either LeBron or Curry because Curry
Yeah.
like the thing with NBA players is that like kids want to look up to people who like what they can dream to do what they do,
Hmm.
and it's more like you can do what Steph does. You know,
Do you
I-
think
Right.
LeBron's move to South Beach precipitated the super team movement, like the Big Three movement? Because like before,
It was
obviously
already
you could
partially
probably
there.
look into history and see there's
not the
definitely big
Boston.
threes or like big twos.
Boston.
Yeah, Boston's like the first thing that comes to mind for me. But
Lakers.
certainly after
70s, 80s Lakers.
LeBron moved to Miami,
South Beach with
I think
what,
that
Dwayne Wade,
the necessity to have 3 all-star caliber players or like 2 all-star and a fringe all-star became a lot more prevalent in the league in order to win.
yeah.
Right.
Because
I
I don't
can
know
agree
if
to
and like we look to like Giannis as the exception to that.
Right. Literally
like-
last year,
Well,
the
unless
NBA
you want to
was
count
advertising all
Drew
the teams by
Holiday
their
as
duos.
someone part of a big 3. And as much as I
I don't
rate
know.
Drew Holiday defensively, I don't think
Well,
he's
so I compare this Giannis era, like this Bucks era, to Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets during the '90s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That this is a Hakeem Olajuwon
Mhm.
ideal, like, and Hakeem had to go through a lot more than what Giannis is going through. He didn't have an All Star during one of his years, while Giannis has Chris Middleton, which is
Right.
he's extremely underrated, extremely underrated as a player, and yeah,
Right.
I'd also say to a certain extent, like as one person, maybe it was definitely like a group of people on this team, but like one person being like the focal point of a team, I'd say like Nowitzki's Mavs 2011 win.
yeah.
To like a
But-
certain extent, because obviously he had Jason Kidd and Sean Marion and
Right.
Tyson
See, I
Chandler
was
when
e-
he
I
was
was
still,
even about to
viable.
start thinking
I think
about,
did
like,
they have oh, Jason Terry. They had Peja still, I think, right?
They did, I think.
Okay.
Like that
I
Mavs
don't
team
think
is
so.
actually pretty good.
I don't
But
know.
yeah,
I was young. at
I
that time.
honestly think the super team movement, like just in general,
Yeah.
started with the Lakers during the 70s and 80s when Hakeem and
Yeah. But do you
very
think that
well,
like the
as well.
whole big 3 idea with LeBron,
Big
Yeah,
Three.
Big Three idea definitely was there because D Wade,
It's-
Bosh, and
D Wade, yeah.
that
Oh,
was
it wasn't even only a big three.
I mean,
They had, like,
Ray
Ray
Allen.
Allen,
Do you
too.
want to include Ray
Ray,
Allen?
Ray Allen won them a final.
So if you
Well,
don't-
yeah,
okay,
he hit that
honestly,
shot, but
Most clutch shot in NBA history.
yeah, oh, yeah.
He don't win their 2 championships and weren't
Without the
and-
Mickey Mouse ring,
Without
without the Mickey Mouse
Without
ring
the
and
Mickey Mouse ring.
Ray Allen, bro. I mean, like, what is LeBron?
Good Lord, Ray Allen.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's. Yeah, I don't know.
Shuttlesworth
Maybe
and
it was just a
Self-Care.
question I was throwing out there.
Fair.
We got any more? For
I think that was our last take.
I did want to review the NFL matchups for this next
Oh,
week.
okay. Why not?
We might as well close it out with, and then when we get back to these episodes, we can review our takes. So we look back on see how bad.
Do we want to
were.
do like just blurted out predictions?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
We can go by matchup though.
Yeah,
All right,
can't-
so I have up first the Panthers and Giants. Who do we have?
Give me the Panthers. Give me the Panthers. NFC
That's
South
what I was
bias,
gonna say
but still.
too. I think the Giants got away with one in week 1,
I agree.
and I think that
Well,
the
yeah, because
Panthers should have
the
had that
Titans did.
game if it weren't for that nutty 59-yarder. That was insane.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah, I'm gonna give me the Panthers in a close one.
All right,
Okay.
Patriots Steelers.
Patriots, Steelers. I'm
Steelers.
probably
Give me the
gonna have
Steelers.
to, I'm gonna have to say the Steelers again.
Give me
I don't,
Steelers.
Steelers
I don't
2-0,
have
Mitchell
faith in Mac
Trubisky era.
Jones.
Mitch
I mean,
yeah.
the Patriots don't have J.C. Jackson anymore, so I mean, maybe Mitch Trubisky might actually make some noise in this game.
Yeah.
And
He did
I don't trust
against
Mac Jones.
Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up. Bucks Saints. This one is interesting to me because the
No,
Saints know
don't you
how to
bring back my
play Tom Brady.
PTSD. Don't you dare
Wait,
bring
wait,
me
wait,
back.
where are they
know how to
playing?
play
Where are they
Tom
playing?
Brady.
I think they're playing. No, they're playing in New Orleans.
They're playing in
Yeah.
New Orleans.
And it's in New Orleans.
The problem is
I think
Is
the
that-
Tampa Bay is favored to win, but I think that the Saints have an upset here personally.
no, it's not an upset at this point though. That's the thing.
I don't know who's gonna be playing for the Saints. Jameis Winston's
actually-
questionable. Alvin Kamara's
actually-
questionable.
Never mind. I'm giving this to Tampa Bay just because Sean Payton's gone. Sean Payton has been the bane of our existence for the last 10 years.
This
He's
is
gone
true.
now. New head coach who prefers Taysom Hill over Alvin Kamara.
Well, I think Alvin Kamara's
mean-
hurt, so
I meant week
This is
1.
true.
yeah. No, you know, week 1 that he apparently was playing through an injury.
That is true.
And
I did
Goff.
not think about Sean Payton being gone. I always forget about Sean Payton being gone
I'm
because I
gonna
feel like he's
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
take the
Saints.
Bucks in a close one.
Bucks in a close one. All right, Jets Browns.
Browns.
Give me Browns.
I think this one's interesting again. I don't think
What, Mike
a
White?
good old
You're gonna give me the. I didn't know. Yeah, Milf Hunter. You know, BYU.
Milf.
versus
That wasn't
Zach
even gonna be
Wilson,
ready
bro.
yet. Wilson's not gonna be ready yet. I think he's still gonna be
No,
hurt.
he's not.
it's still going to be Joe Flacco. Actually,
Oh,
yeah,
it's
that's the difference maker
Flacco.
right
Okay,
there.
yeah, no, Browns by even
Browns.
more now. I'm
I
sorry.
forgot. I think that they have a good, I think they have a good run defense over there in New York. So I thought that, I took that into consideration. But if Joe Flacco is their quarterback, no, I'm okay.
All right, we got
Dolphins Ravens. That's gonna
Oh,
be a fun game.
This is a really interesting matchup for me because is Marlon Humphrey healthy?
This is to
me-
me
Look,
Do we know if Humphrey's healthy?
Because
I give a look.
If
the
Marlon
Dolphins
Humphrey's
played
healthy-
the Patriots last week, and Mac Jones is not an elite level quarterback.
Well, no shit. I
He's
think
playing an
that's clear.
elite level quarterback this week in Lamar Jackson. If Tua wants to prove that he's that guy, that
No.
he's been projected to be, he's projected to have gotten better. He has Jalen Waddle. He has Tyreek Hill.
No,
He
If
has Mike
Ma-
Gesicki.
no. Two
When-
of the touchdowns against the Patriots were both Tyreek Hill, and then Mike Gesicki having some crazy yards after the catch, with like
Right.
2 seconds remaining in the first half.
So you have to wonder here: is Tua going to show up and is he going to surprise us, or are we going to see the same Tua that we've seen up to this point? And the Ravens are just going to go ahead and take this one and go up to a clean 2-0 No questions asked.
I'm not ever going to trust Tua until he proves me otherwise.
So wait,
But I
listen,
think this
is
could
Marlon
be a
Humphrey
statement
healthy?
game for Tua.
If Marlon Humphrey's
Marlon
healthy,
Humphrey is questionable.
if he's ready for week 2 by week 2, it's gonna be a Ravens win.
Because we still have 2 days.
Marlon
To
Humphrey's
make a change.
still good.
I'm going Ravens, and yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm still not fully convinced in this myself, but I'm going to go with a prediction that I have the Dolphins, and I think that Tua has a standout
Oh, we should
game
be
because
taking notes of who people are picking. 1 second.
Watch Calais Campbell get like 2 sacks. Wait,
Okay.
Campbell's still on the fucking Ravens, isn't he? Or has he retired? He's like 39.
I have
Bro, it's
no
like-
idea. 1 second. Panthers,
All right,
Giants.
up next we have Colts and Jaguars.
Okay, so
Do we think that Matt Ryan brings in the first dub of the season, or do we think? By the way, did anyone see that video circulating around of Trevor Lawrence trying to give out that pregame speech to his team? He's walking through the hallway and he goes, "All right, guys, this is the first time that this first opportunity we have this season to show everyone what we're about. Let's go out there and play with some swag, some real spirit."
Tim,
He's trying to hype his team up, and he's like talking like just monotone. He's
Well,
not
yeah,
not making sense
that's
of
Trevor
what he's saying.
Lawrence.
Do we
I mean,
think
he
that
won a
Trevor
national
Lawrence
championship.
start showing the league who he is,
Well, yeah.
or do we
yeah,
think that the
all
veteran
coaching
Matt
is
Ryan
not.
just takes him out with his new squad?
So I've rated Matt Ryan to a high standards for a while now, and I've seen people say that Matt Ryan isn't a Hall of Famer, but Matthew Stafford is, which
That's
is
tough.
blasphemous. Which is blasphemous.
Personally, I don't think either of them are. if I'm
No,
being real.
I think Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer. I think he's top 5 in all-time passing yards right now. That MVP and that 28-3 was not his fault. That defense.
You had to score. You had to score one time.
Yeah,
One
I
time.
know, but still top 5 all time in passing. I think that probably gets him in, even if he,
Yeah, true.
That's because like Philip Rivers, it could be Hall of Fame, and like who,
Even though
like
Rivers,
they had just have longevity. I don't.
yeah.
even though
But-
I think Matt Ryan's a better all-time than Philip Rivers.
Wait, have we all had
Yeah, probably.
the same pick to who we think who's gonna win this entire
I
time?
picked the
Um,
Dolphins,
Oh, you did pick
I picked the
Dolphins.
Ravens.
Yeah,
and I picked the Saints.
Okay.
Commanders,
I'm-
Lions.
Oh,
And-
we didn't do our Colts Jags picks.
Oh, my bad.
Give me the Jags. Christian
God
Kirk has a
damn
good
it!
big
I was
game.
gonna be different and pick the Jags too.
I'll be different and pick the Colts. I think that the vet is going to show up and take everyone
So,
else out. I don't
like
believe it.
for me, it comes down to the running game.
I think
between the
Michael
two.
Pittman's hurt though. I think Michael Pittman's hurt, isn't he?
If it comes
I
down to the
swear.
running game,
Oh, he's
who
questionable.
do the Colts have?
Oh,
Who do the
actually,
Jaguars have?
yes.
Jaguars have Travis Etienne.
please,
They
Colts
have
run the
James
ball
Robinson.
15 times.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if the Colts can't put away the Texans, and I think the Jags might be a little better than the Texans.
They are. It's
Yeah.
I'm
not
gonna
that
pick
close.
the Jags. As much as I think Brandon
I
Cooks
have the
carries
Colts.
that Texans team. I'm sorry, Damian Pierce, but
He's
I
a
have- I
legend.
have
He's
the-
seeing
I
enough
have the
carries
Colts.
last week.
yeah, okay. So
All right, Commanders Lions.
Yeah.
This is actually a close matchup to me because I like both teams. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like DJ Chark, as I said earlier.
St. Brown is my boy.
Fucking
I said it
fantasy
right
god.
I know AGB and I were trying to trade for this. Well, I was trying to trade for him.
But yeah, I think Lions pull this one out, but it's a very close game. I think Carson Wentz goes for 250 yards.
Has another good game like that.
So-
just like that.
For me, I'm gonna go Commanders, and my reasoning is that I don't know if DeAndre Swift is gonna play.
If DeAndre Swift plays, I need him for my fantasy
If
team, bro.
DeAndre Swift plays, then I will
I have the
lean
Lions if they do.
But for now, I'm just gonna
I'm
go
also on
Command.
the Commanders train.
You're on the Commanders.
I'm not
train?
going to be different on this one.
All right.
I will be down with that. Seahawks Niners. Do we think that Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Trey
God,
Lance?
this is just a big mid off.
It is.
It really
It's
is.
exactly like what the Broncos game turned
Good
into.
lord.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
a big mid off.
You know what?
Actually, hang
give
on
me the
just a
Niners.
second.
Give me the
Who is
Niners.
that? Who is the corner that the Seahawks had get injured last week? That's like a big deal. I forgot his name. Can't think of it off the top of my head.
How about Jamal Adams?
I think he's out for the season, is he not?
Let
He
me look.
is.
Let me look.
Also, Jamal Adams is a strong safety. No small safety go. He's out for the season. I'm pretty sure. He has.
Yeah, he is. He's
surgery.
IR. Let's
Yeah,
see.
so,
I think
give me the
I
Niners.
think that could be a
Corner,
serious edge for this
so
Niners team.
yeah, there's
Maybe Trey
Trey
Lance can finally show
Brown,
that he's worth a damn.
maybe. Who's the
Um,
cornerback that went out?
I can get down with the Niners because their defense is also significantly better than the Seahawks.
Their defense is good, and then Debo Samuel is just Debo
So
Samuel.
you two are for the
But
Niners.
Samuel is just Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
everyone's
I-
in for the Niners in this one. Rams,
I'll
Falcons.
pick. I'll pick the Sea Chickens. Why not?
All right. This one, Falcons Rams. Interesting matchup. Right
Rams.
here.
Give me the Falcons.
Give me the Falcons. NFC South.
Wow.
Bias.
No way you're going with the Falcons with me. You're not picking with Marcus Mariota, are you?
I am actually. I'm picking with the NFC South teams.
Okay, so I'm picking because of Mariota. I'm just gonna
I'm picking because of Kyle Pitts. I have him on my 8 of my fantasy teams, and I
Yeah.
do not
So
want
like,
to die.
do we know
Jeez.
how Matt Stafford's doing with the injury? Is that still just vibing?
I think they haven't figured it out yet, but I think
There's not
there
been
is-
much
there's
Okay.
been
coverage
talk
on
of
it,
it.
honestly.
I
don't think they
think
want
the
us to
Rams are
know.
trying to. I think the Rams and Stafford are trying to hide an injury so he can play.
Right.
Okay.
Which
Moving.
So
I say the Rams.
yeah, like if Matt Stafford's popping, they're gonna win.
well, probably who?
Just popping off. Doesn't really matter who. If Cooper Kupp has 15 receptions and there's like 15 other receptions spread about, I think the Rams win that.
It depends on how
And
their
also,
rushing
who do
game
they
is.
have
though.
who do they have to cover Cooper Cup?
Let
who
me
the heck
think.
is- Falcons defense. God,
I
don't
who's
think
on
they
the
have anything to
defense,
cover.
bro. Jesus Christ, who is on the Falcons defense?
AJ Terrell's there. Sean Evans could be a good guy in that defense, and they have Casey Hayward. Randy Jarrett's there as well. I like Jarrett. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the notable guys.
I don't know. It's not for me. It's not about the Falcons defense beating the Rams offense. It's about vice versa. Like the Falcons defense is not going to. They're like the 29th best in the league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So as long as Matthew Stafford's fine, the Rams will win. But gotta back
That's
my boy
my-
Mariota.
Cardinals Raiders. What are we thinking? Here?
Raiders. I know the Cardinals played the Chiefs, who are a great team, but
You know what?
They
For my
don't-
fantasy
they-
agenda, I need the Cardinals to win, so I'm going Cardinals.
If I'm sticking to the facts, I'm saying the Raiders. I think
I
that Derek
think
Carr and Devontae
I-
Adams is about to be a power.
I agree.
It's about to be a power duo.
We got
I
another
think that
mid
they
off.
have to.
We got another mid off this next one.
So we're
Okay,
so
then
let
I'll-
me just make sure it's two. Mike, you're on the cards.
I
AGB, you're on
did
the
go
Raiders.
Which I
Cardinals.
think is wild, but whatever.
Texans
Broncos.
No, there's no way that picking the Cardinals or the Raiders is a wild because they're still a good team.
Yeah, they're good.
It
Good.
just
We're calling the Cardinals.
yes,
Yes, the Cardinals are a
yeah,
borderline,
they
if
just,
not actually a playoff team.
yeah,
I don't think so.
they
I
just
think
have
that's
DeAndre Hopkins
blasphemous.
out.
That's
Yeah,
not
that
that
is
blasphemous.
blasphemous.
Kyler Murray's a top 7 quarterback.
Dude, DeAndre
Top
Hopkins is out.
7
That's the only
defensive
reason why he
defensive
doesn't
top
have a target.
Okay, look, okay. The only reason Kyler Murray's top 7 is because he's versatile and can stretch plays out.
He can. Yeah, he can.
Okay,
play
actually, you know what?
better.
I'm gonna
He's
qualify
very
this.
confident.
He's a top 4 quarterback for the first 8 games of the season, and then the second half of the season he's like top 20.
Right.
But
yeah,
don't
I
mean
want
to
the
cloud on my boy Kyler like that. But,
Actually, I think it could be the other way around this season.
that's the hot take. Bring that next week.
DeAndre Hopkins comes back that second half of the season.
Oh, D Hop, give me some D Hop.
He comes back second half, and I think Kyler's gonna save his talent for that second
For
one,
the South Beach.
second half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
next.
Broncos.
We
Texans.
got Texans Broncos. Mid off as fuck.
Uh,
I think the Broncos take it.
okay, Mike's gonna pick the Texans because of his fantasy agenda about Damian Pierce.
I mean, it is, but this is actually
So,
tougher.
like, how's the
Wait,
Broncos
actually, no,
passing defense last
no,
week?
I'm going Texans. I'm going Texans. Not even for their offense.
Why?
It's for it's for their defense. I like
Their
their
defense
secondary.
is solid.
I like their secondary.
I just
think
saw
they're both
DK
mid,
Metcalf's
and
stat line from last week. What the heck is that garbage?
They
No, it was not good.
hold the Broncos to a good pass, to like almost no passing, and then you stop them on the run, you're fine. And then Davis
Right.
Mills is not that bad.
Yeah, so
Right.
I'm gonna go.
I only see one star in this game,
And it's Russ.
and his name is Russell Wilson, and I think
Actually,
the star
Jerry Jeudy,
power
Portland Sutton.
does have value.
See, my
Jerry
my
Ju-
And Jerry
fantasy
Jeudy is
agenda
over there,
would
too.
have me believe that I want Cortland Sutton to have a good game, and as much as I do, I think this could be a high-scoring one. Weirdly.
Weirdly, okay.
And
If we don't have
I'm
the
gonna go Broncos. I'm actually
Alright.
gonna go
Broncos country.
Let's
Let's
ride.
ride.
God.
Oh my God, my ears.
that was fucking crazy. All right, the next matchup is Bengals Cowboys. Again, this is gonna be a
Okay.
close matchup.
Give me the Bengals, and my reasoning is, as much as I think the Cowboys defense is going to harass Burrow throughout the game, what Cowboys offense?
No.
AGB,
Oh.
you've muted yourself, by the way. I don't know how, but
Oh, rip his
Oh.
audio.
oh,
His
rip
audio's
audio,
fucked.
rip audio, rip audio.
His
All right,
audio
we
is
back.
fucked.
We back.
Okay,
We back.
hey.
I gotta hear. All right, so Bengals defense is underrated. The Bengals
Well,
defense is underrated.
fun fact.
They're not that bad.
In Madden 23, Trey Hendrickson has a normal dev. A
Trey
normal dev.
Hendrickson?
Yeah.
The D lineman, right? D end, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was top 5 in sacks last year.
What does Sam Hubbard have?
Sam Howard has a star, I think.
DJ Reader?
I think he is a superstar.
Okay.
But Trey
That's
Hendrickson.
blasphemous that Trey
Yeah,
is even
well,
is
well-
considered to be normal.
Well, I think we know who AGB is going to pick in this game.
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I'm biased towards them.
Mhm.
I think that their defense is underrated. For the Bengals,
I
their secondary needs work. That's why they drafted. They drafted their first 2 picks for secondary. They got a safety and a corner,
Mhm.
who they're probably both going to play as corners.
Well, it was like a free
And
safety.
that whole offense as a whole is going to be out for vengeance after what
No.
just happened to them. They're
No.
pissed.
Watch.
They're pissed.
The Bengals are going to play better because Micah Parsons is on that left side carrying through the O line. Burrow's going to
Yeah.
get the ball off quicker, and they're going to be running more slant routes. Jamar Chase, he's going to be a yards of.
They are way better when they play the short pass game, and I think that's what they have to do. I think they learned that in
And-
week 1.
They'll have to.
That's how they work.
They're going to be forced to. Micah
And
Parsons.
Joe
is not
has
just
an
going
arm.
to-
He used to beam that thing down the field wherever he was in LSU. But he's always I think that he just looks better now in NFL, like as his game is transferred. He just looks better as just like slowly but surely getting the ball down the field. And like
Yeah.
every once in a while taking a bomb down the field because Jamar's every once in a while pretty often gonna beat a guy down the field on his route running, and then you also have T. Higgins, and you also have Tyler Boyd. And you also have guys that's gonna make sense.
Isn't Higgins out for concussion?
He is.
He
But
may
he
be
still has Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's still good. Hayden Hurst is an underrated pickup throughout this offseason, I must say.
Yeah.
Hayden Hurst was nice. He had some good receptions in week 1. I think that this team, I just think that I think that the offense is going to be out for vengeance, and I think the defense is underrated, and I don't think that I think the Bengals D line is their strong suit of their defense, and that's going to compare well against their running game that they're going to have to rely on, where they don't have Dak this week for the Cowboys. I give me the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well.
Can we just?
I think
I don't. It's not even a hot take anymore. Ezekiel Elliott's just completely washed.
No. You know what one of the mistakes was in that first game? They kept using Tony Pollard in Wildcats.
Wait,
Over
I
and
didn't
over
even
again.
watch that game. They used him in. Okay.
No. For real. First drive, which oddly went really well. They used him in Wildcats. First 3 plays they used him in Wildcats, all negative yardage, like by 6 yards.
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy doing
Okay,
Mike McCarthy did
next
No,
game. Let's see. What do we got? It's the fourth.
Bears Packers.
It's Bears Packers. Yeah. Okay.
Give me Bears.
Give me Bears. Wait, okay.
Alan Lazard is not back.
He's questionable.
He's not going to be fully back. Even if
Yeah,
he does come
give
back
me
in, they're
Bears.
going to rush him.
Man, I don't
And
know.
if he's questionable, how many reps does he have in with Aaron Rodgers? Even if he
Field-
Well, I mean,
has-
he played with him last season. I mean, I
Feel-
understand that.
in
but,
this scheme,
yeah.
is it going to be the same scheme as last year?
I think
Whenever
so.
they had Devontae Adams,
I think
Yeah,
they-
he's
they
going to
are.
be the.
are they
Devontae
going to try and
Adams.
make Alan Lazard look like Devontae Adams?
They
Bruh.
could.
No, they changed.
It's-
This
it's worked
offense has
before.
changed.
Bruh, if they do, I am going to be trading Alan Lazard. I'm going to keep it
No.
real.
I swear, if Alan Lazard turns into Devontae Adams, I will buy an Aaron Rodgers jersey this year.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
You heard it here.
I
You know-
told you, I will wear on one of these podcast episodes.
If
Yeah.
Alan, so when you say turns into, okay, what was Devontae Adams' stats last year?
1,400 yards.
So if Alan Lazard has a 1,400-yard year,
Yes.
you'll get an Aaron Rodgers jersey.
Oh.
Okay,
Far from DH.
it's in the notes.
All right, cool.
It is
Okay.
indeed in the notes.
But are we
But,
all going Bears?
I'm
I'm
going
taking
Bears.
the Packers.
Oh, Mike going Packers.
I like the Packers defense. I don't think Justin Fields is going to be that good against that defense.
Okay.
Hopefully, he's better, Alexander.
All right, so one more before we get to what I think
Oh,
is
it's-
probably the most important game of next week.
Oh.
Let's go Bills Titans before we dive into that.
So Bills win.
I have Bills.
I have Bills as much as I like my boys, the Titan boys.
I
mean,
have one thing
Josh
for you.
Allen,
Derrick Henry versus Von Miller, who wins?
Derrick Henry.
well,
Okay, with everything else on that defense.
well, you can't compare the two because one's an exterior lineman, so he doesn't deal with
Okay,
Henry
so
that much.
yeah, the question
line's
is
gonna open
Derrick
up and he's
Henry
gonna-
going to be able to run against the Bills? The answer is yes.
Well, yes, he'll be able to, but he won't be able to at the efficient rate that he normally does.
You say that
You-
like he didn't put over 100+ yards and 3 tutties on the Bills last season, and he put Josh Norman on a poster.
Do you know how many extra people they added to this defense? Not even just including just Von Miller.
Yeah, okay, yes, admittedly,
like the
the
defensive
defense is
tackle.
better, okay? I still think Henry's going to have like a 95 through 115-yard game with 2 touchdowns, something like that. I think what
It's
happened
not gonna
last
be
week against
anything
the Giants was an
supernatural.
anomaly.
Actually, give me a 70-yard game for Derrick Henry, but give me Ed Oliver stopping him on plays.
You know, that's
I
a shout.
like Ed Oliver.
Ed
I like
Oliver's
it.
probably the one of a couple people in that defense that Derrick Henry can't
He-
just run through.
He's one of those guys. man. He's one of those.
Yeah,
But,
so
I
I think
mean,
we're all going
regardless-
Bills, but yeah.
Regardless, I'm going Bills.
Yeah,
Josh
well,
Allen's just too different.
Two Bills.
So now this next game, Vikings.
So
Bears-
important
So you're
for this
saying
season.
this is the game of the week right here.
No, it is very.
I don't know
important.
if it's the game of the week because there are some decent matchups
No.
up here, but I
It
think
wa-
this is the most significant and most important game
See, I
because
would.
these are the two teams that we're looking at to win this conference, and this is their first time meeting.
So you got the
Yeah.
NFC East winning Eagles, the NFC North winning Vikings, hypothetically.
Actually,
Yes.
that will happen for whatever team.
I think these guys are both very important. Like I
They're
think-
both really good teams right now.
Mhm.
But I
in
think
the
I'm gonna take
NFC. I
Vikings.
think they're two of the powerhouses. I think that they could. I think that they both could have sneaky seasons and make their way up to maybe winning the conference. And like that's a hot take right there. I don't think that they will, but they could have a sneaky season and be like
thought-
second or third.
I can only say like one team, the conference having that week 1 bye. It's like Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Right.
The NFC is not as good.
No,
And that's-
no,
no.
the AFC has
AFC
stacked
clear.
up this past year.
What? Fucking Rams aren't good.
We
Packers-
could just wash
Rams
the
are still
entire
good.
NFC West essentially.
The
I
Rams
mean,
are still
Packers
good.
aren't
They're
gonna
just
do
not
it.
nearly as good as they were last year.
Like I mean, if that Rams team last year could like get that week 1 bye, what year?
Right.
So, in my mind, this is just going to be an absolute shootout.
Same here. I think that too.
Actually-
I'm saying like
I'm giving this to the Vikings,
Mhm.
and
These-
Jalen
these
Hurts
teams are
is gonna
very similar.
die. Jalen Hurts is gonna fucking die to Daniel Hunter.
oh. I'm gonna say
He's gonna
like I'm gonna
die.
say the
Yeah,
final score we're
Danielle
looking
Hunter,
at
and then
like
you have Zedarius.
I'm saying final
Smith as
score like
well.
Oh god, I forgot they had Zedarius.
Vikings
Oh,
like
God.
42, Eagles like 34 or 31. So
I
can
see
I'm
that.
going Vikings.
Also, remember they also have Harrison Smith.
Yeah, but yeah,
He's still good.
he's still good, but he's definitely exposable.
He may
I
not be in
want,
this
I
prime
want to
anymore.
try and be different here and go for Philly, but I think that I have to go Minnesota too. Their defense is just too stacked. I don't think that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Kirk
Mhm.
Cousins.
He's not. Did you
Yep.
see him
And-
last year in the
Yep.
wild card game?
And
Right.
we'll be here again next week talking about why we were wrong on all of these picks.
And maybe why we were right on some of them.
final
and
remarks.
see here. Okay, you know what? Panthers versus Giants. You know, C-Mac's gonna get hurt. I'm gonna throw that out there. He's gonna
He's gonna get into
Taylor
better.
and
he's
Thibodeau's
gonna be
gonna
walking
block
off
him.
the field. And he's gonna step on a Gatorade bottle and like be out for 5 weeks because his ankle just like died.
Okay, any last remarks from you two?
Go
this
Ducks.
went way over, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, this went well.
Yeah.
I do want to say we may be able to get a video out. It's a Madden video, possibly next week if I can get these two in a recording session. But with my luck, AGB won't be available.
yeah.
I'll work on it.
I would look for this Sunday. These guys might be a part of it, but college football, I'll be doing a recap.
That would be cool.
I'll unfortunately be a part of a recording for another thing.
Oh yeah,
Oh
so
no.
we'll see. If you guys want to see what we said again, and without having to scroll back 2 hours in the VOD, make sure to go
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
subscribe to the YouTube channel before Mike puts it in. Right there.
Fuck you,
I'm not
I'll
even
tell
subbed to it on my YouTube account yet, so I need to do that after stream. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Well, how many AMA do we think there's gonna be like one stream of AMA Sports Show a week roughly?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, one main show I think.
One
Yeah,
main.
something like
And
that. I'm
then
down with that.
beyond that, we don't want to put too much on our plate now. I think that's
Yeah.
But look for some other shows that might have, different sets of people.
And
AGB's
gonna-
gonna solo at NBA show, and it's just gonna be called I don't know.
the
The
AGBs.
A.
Yeah,
A sports
the
show.
A.
the A.
The A
It's
sports
all
show.
about Atlanta. All about Atlanta sports teams. The A. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to help the team get like sports, like gaming videos out. Wanted to diversify the content, not just have it talking about sports. Might as well have like some entertaining. What are you doing?
Just
What is
ruining your
going on?
outro. That's what I'm doing.
He's we're always trying to be Cam Newton.
Is he doing the gritty while sitting down right now?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's a clip. That's
That is
the first YouTube show right
So-
there.
hopefully I'll get a Madden video, a little sneak peek. We're gonna be selecting 3 players and trying to win a certain player MVP,
Gino.
and also trying to win them the Super Bowl. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're not giving Geno Smith just 3 wide receivers, you're kind of weird.
Hey,
Anyways.
we'll
Just
see.
give
We'll
him
see.
3
We'll see.
wide receivers. We don't want to give him an RB or nothing, bro. We don't want to mix
No,
the
no. We'll
offense.
see. We'll see.
We're trying
No
to make
crazy
Geno
anything.
win the MVP. If we give him like Derrick Henry, or actually you
That-
give him
I
like
never
you
said we
get
were
it's
giving him
Madden. You
Derrick
give him
Henry.
C-Mac. He'd never get hurt, and he's a receiving back. Okay.
All right, okay.
I was about to
We'll
say.
talk about this when we record.
Yeah.
We're getting off on a
Spoilers.
tangent. Good lord.
All right. Well, this
Um,
has been fun. I'm very proud of all that we're doing. I just looked over on Atlas's stream and just saw where the word outro was just flying around. Going to the
Don't
current
worry
topic.
about it, man. It's been
It was
happening
like-
on the fly. It said introduction about halfway through our college football previews, so it's we're working on it. You
Well,
know, it's not
the-
it's not the first episode. It's not the pilot if it's not scuffed.
Right,
Look,
right. But speaking of
Everything
being
that happens the first time will be awful.
Yeah.
We're gonna look back at this at the end of the season and be like, what the fuck were we doing?
Yeah. Also, my camera's on
That's
my
another clip right
is
there.
on my second monitor instead of my first one, so it's a new.
I was
angle.
wondering
Really?
why you're on the other side of.
Because I wanted to be able to look at chat and like look at the cameras better instead of have my notes on this side. So like I'm
Yeah,
not
oh, yeah.
like playing a game. So like I want to be like, you know, like I
Fair,
wouldn't
fair.
have the Asu angle, you know.
Fair, fair.
I don't know. It just feels like it fits more this direction. I don't know.
But yeah.
But yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm glad that you guys. If there's anybody who stuck here from the beginning to end, thank you guys so much. That was 3 hours of us just having sports takes.
Yeah.
Mike put that bum hat off. But
Hey, how about you win a championship first?
listen,
Bro.
Did you win a championship in 2002, 2003?
you didn't make. Did I make it? What? Excuse me.
Yeah.
The same team. Okay, honestly, I don't know why you're talking because the same team that beat us last year beat you. So, but
And you lost to the fucking what? Steelers?
all right, guys, this has been a fun.
You know what?
Alright,
See,
you
no.
guys,
Here's
this has been
the thing. Here's the thing. They lose to the Saints this week. You can clown them.
No, that is
I'm gonna
completely
clown
fair. But we'll beat the Saints in the playoffs.
How
to
is
make it.
that? Yeah, but the Steelers are better than the Saints. So like, what's the? Where's the
Ah, no.
consistency? What do you mean no?
It's close. It's close. If Kamara is healthy, I really like Kamara.
And
Mike,
that was
that
Mike's
was
fourth hot take
tough.
for the week.
But yeah, this will be a bit more polished as we go forward. As Mike said, everything week
Yeah.
one is going to be a little rough.
We'll make.
I
music.
definitely don't think that every show will be 3 hours, right?
We'll see.
Hey.
I mean, I'm
Hey,
not-
it
down
see,
for it
it didn't
is.
feel like an empty 3 hours though.
no.
didn't.
We were talking the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You do not know how many Google Chrome tabs I have open right now.
I have
I've
8.
probably had it.
I have 26.
See, because
Jesus God.
I took notes. I one
I
second.
did too. I mean, I have a Google Docs page.
Oh man, you get the bullet points and everything.
Yeah.
I
What are you
actually
talking about?
wasn't able to mention all my stuff.
Yeah. As you can see, the Oregon BYU section is the biggest because Scoducks.
But yeah, this has been fun. Atlas, I'll let you go ahead and do your outro because this is on your stream.
Okay,
Uh,
will do.
VOD will be up
but-
soon. as well.
VOD will be up and in sections and on TikTok because we're gonna force Mike to do this.
Also,
Yes,
Alice, I'm forcing you to send me the VOD. When
Yeah,
you're done.
I will give
I'm
you.
doing the tags and stuff.
I'll have to
I'll
download for a
just
bit, I'm sure,
literally
but-
download
Oh,
it
yeah.
and put it in the Google
Wait,
Drive of the Google account of this. you made.
Wait, can we need a post for a thumbnail quick, by the way.
Post for the thumbnail.
We need a thumbnail.
We need a thumbnail.
We
Okay.
do need a thumbnail.
What faces do you want? Oh no, he's good at it. I don't.
I don't think you do that because
Someone please take Atlas's face and make that an emote. That shit was hilarious.
Wait. So maybe we point up to the logo or something. I don't know because it's gonna be a picture of the layout here. Just point up.
Wait, I'm not. My face is not. Wait, I need to do it in
a
line.
screenshot. Fuck. All right. Again, we can just do it from the bottom. You know, I just slide down.
Wait, that probably get demonetized. Wait, no. Never mind, it's
We'll
fine.
figure something out from there.
Yeah, we will. I need to be making YouTube bases. That was good. That was good.
This is trash time on Atlas's stream right now.
Yeah.
We're looking like Jack Prescott right now.
What?
All right, well,
Dead for
all
6
right,
weeks?
well, that was just uncalled for.
Okay. Well, I guess we go to outro now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new around here, drop a follow, donate. I mean, I'm not forcing you to donate, but we got to donate.
Follow everyone. Follow to everyone.
Follow. We're 4 away from our follower goal, which will then be moved another 50 in the direction. So it's like a temporary follower goal. Go subscribe to the YouTube. Go follow me on TikTok. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Signing off with an Ohioan, a Californian, and a Oregonian.
Oregonian.
Yes.
Take care, y'all. Peace.
Be easy, be safe, peace. Cheers.